I've got,
Do you want me to run that out?
If you don't mind.
The mayor needs it?
Yeah. Excuse me.
My Penn State.
Thank you.
The
you know,
microphone.
so, because I ate something before I came, it'll come back down.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh yeah, for the presentation. You're right.
Thank you. You're welcome.
How did your Ireland event go?
It was really good. Yeah, it was too long
Yeah.
and too far, but it was good. Yeah, it was good. I took Margaret. So, yeah, it was good. It was good. It was just long, that's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was an hour to get there. Brunch at Margaret's house. Rode an hour to get there. They were so happy. Their happiness made me. It's happy. Oh, happy belated. Thank you. Yeah, I think we're cupcaking you.
When you were up on the panel, did anyone ask you how many buildings there are in Ireland?
No. Hey, how are you? No. Nor did they ask when is World War III. Thank God.
Well, that's probably good.
Yeah, and it was with Eileen Higgins, so.
Yeah.
Special
birthday.
You know.
I'm so excited.
I am too. She got a lot of applause, first of all. Everything was very, I guess just coming off of campaigns, everything was very technical. Housing and this and that. You know, mine was more. So, it's just a different.
Yeah.
No, it was, because there were questions like, you know, I talked about my mom, because it's your connection to Ireland.
Yeah.
What's your connection to Ireland? So anyway, yeah, it was all right. It was.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you ready? You have your mic? Yes.
Hey, Robert.
It's the people that we pay to come and make sure that we don't have any issues. Yeah.
Thank you. Testing. Hey, how are you? Are you guys Sheila's family?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Very good. So nice to meet you.
Hi,
Hey, how are
I'm
you?
Elizabeth, and I'm his wife.
Okay, very good. Oh, but you're here for Sheila.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And welcome. Where are you coming from?
State College.
Pennsylvania.
Where?
State College.
College, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Okay, very
Penn
good.
State, yeah.
Penn State.
We came here to get warm, but
No,
Yeah.
no, I've had so many. Testing. We've had my. And I'm like, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but testing. It's gonna be cold.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a great meeting.
Pool heater on. Well, good. Well,
It's a pleasure to be here.
and very, very nice to meet you. might be battery. It goes, I put it on, but then it turns off almost immediately. Oh. User error? No, does that sound like it's working?
Testing, testing.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm sorry about that. User error.
No, that's a resident.
Well, good evening. Thanks, Steve. Today is February 2nd. Wow, the year's already flying by. This is a special time of our meeting, and thank you. I forgot your names, but I know Jack, Marcia's brother, and sister-in-law here for joining. Yes, they said they're here for you, though. So this is a very special time of our meeting. We have two recognitions this evening, actually one very special recognition and the other just more informational. We have on our agenda a recognition for Michael Biamonte. You may know him as the voice of the Heat, but we've moved that to May to coincide with his retirement. He'll be retiring, so we'll celebrate him in May. This is Black History Month. As everybody knows, it started just yesterday, and we're not going to do a recognition or proclamation tonight, except we will be doing many different kinds of outreaches during the month of February connected to Black History Month, and more specifically here in the village of Palmetto Bay, connecting a lot of amazing individuals that have been doing great things in our community with Black History Month. But I did want to share, because this is literally hot off the press, just printed a few moments ago, we have our Education Advisory Board who will be foregoing their Education Committee meeting to host a family adventure in Black history and culture. And as I mentioned, we've got many talented African Americans, and one in particular, Dr. Marvin Dunn, who, he deserves some applause. I hope I'll tell you the date and everything on this coming up. But really remarkable individual. Really, we've recognized him many, many times because he's really a curator for Black history in South Florida. And he will be joining as a speaker. It is on February 24th, which was the night of the Education Advisory Board meeting. It is sponsored by the Village of Palmetto Bay, Saving Black History, the Miami Center for Racial Justice, and of course our friends at Books and Books. It's focused on our children, which I find especially important. So children that come out to this particular event will receive a free signed copy of Dr. Michael Woodard's book. It's called The ABCs of Black History. And on top of that, and maybe more important to every child, is they will get free pizza. So we hope to see families out here. I'm going to put one of these, I think everyone got it electronically, put one of these on everybody's spot so you can share it with friends. I'll give this one to you. I don't know if you already have one, but we're looking forward to that. So we will see everyone here on February 24th. For that very informative and hopefully fun event. So this is the really special recognition, and if I could invite Miss Sheila Frazier to join us. Yes, applause. Come right on up here. So Sheila, I understand that you are departing or resigning from your position on the Parks and Rec Committee. Yes, we are very, very sad to see you go, but hopefully that space will be filled with someone who has new ideas, just like I was speaking to some kids the other day, and I said one person moves out, and get someone else that's got some different ideas. But you've really been super actively involved. I mean, I think this is not the first time we've recognized you. It might even be the third, maybe, that we've recognized during my tenure, because you've been an amazing volunteer to the Village of Palmetto Bay and beyond Palmetto Bay, because I know one of your big passions is over at Fairchild Tropical Gardens, Botanical Gardens, just outside of Palmetto Bay. But we are going to miss you. But I loved when I just spoke to you a moment ago, you said, well, I'm not going. And I said, no, I didn't think you were going anywhere. And I know you're still going to be very active. and I'm very happy for that. So this is a certificate of recognition that we provide those who have come to serve, and I thank you for coming out tonight to accept this certificate of recognition. And it says, the Village of Palmetto Bay proudly recognizes and extends its sincere appreciation for your outstanding commitment to our community through your dedicated service on the Parks and Recreation Committee. Your exemplary civic responsibility, meaningful volunteer contributions, and unwavering dedication to enhancing the quality of life in Palmetto Bay are truly commendable. And of course, we thank you for your service leadership and continued support of our village through your volunteerism. And of course, I put the hashtag Palmetto Bay's Got Talent because you've got quite a bit of talent. So I'd like to also present you, if I could, with the challenge coin. I don't know if you've already have one, and if you've, okay. So you've heard me, I know you've come to a lot of recognitions and sat in the audience, and I know you're very familiar probably with challenge coins born during World War II. And I know, do we have any military personnel here? No, law enforcement? Okay, the dependent of military personnel.
With more years than active duty.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll let you take a minute to talk about that in just a moment. That's awesome. So you're very familiar then with the challenge coin. It really just means that you've been a part of the greater community. If you didn't receive one last time, it's because we weren't using challenge coins at the time. But I just want to thank you, and I'll give it to you the way military, even though I'm not military, give it, which is in a handshake. Thank you so much for your service to the Village of Palmetto Bay. So you've got some amazing friends here on council. I know you were the appointee of Councilmember Cody, so I'm going to let him say a few words, and then your backdoor neighbor, Councilwoman Matson, and I'll turn it over to you, Steve.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sheila, I just want to express not only my appreciation, but the appreciation of the village for all the hard work that you've put in. I know that you're leaving the Park and Recreation Committee, but there's an opening on it now, so if you consider serving on it, we can do that, but I understand. But I do want to thank you for all the hard work that you've put in for over the years, and you have helped make Palmetto Bay a better place to live, so thank you.
Well, this is the very best back fence neighbor ever. You know, in the olden days, people used to meet at the back fence, the moms hanging the laundry out to dry and so on. Well, we meet at our back fence through our ferns and all our plants, and we've just done so much together. I think we've been back fence neighbors for, what, 30 years?
Since you moved in.
Yeah, yeah. And I bought the house from her daughter, so. And we just had such a good time together, working together on everything over the years, talking all the time. And Sheila, we worked together on this book. Elizabeth, can I take, yeah? This is Through the Years. Yeah, we did this one together for the 15th Anniversary Committee, and explored Palmetto Bay and put it into a book, so. I know, we're soon there at 25. And let's see, what other things that Sheila has worked on? The Pine Rockland creation in Palmetto Bay Park. I call it Sheila's Woods. And we worked on the Atala Butterfly Project together, planting little caterpillars in each of our yards, planting coonties and getting them going, trying to restore them. And the woods, we've worked on the woods together, and that's just the beginning, really. For 30 years, we've been working together, talking a lot, so thank you so much for serving on the committee and all your hard work for Palmetto Bay, and for being the best neighbor ever.
So when I was first getting involved in Palmetto Bay politics after I left UF, one of the first persons that Marcia wanted me to meet was you. And since I've ever met you myself, I understood why, because you've been so active and involved in the community for such a long time. And every single day that you come here to Village Hall, is the mic on? Okay, yes, it is. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, so every single time you come to Village Hall, you always bring a smile, and also the warmth that you bring to every interaction that I've ever seen is just, it's awesome. We're going to miss you. Please stay involved with however you can. I know you're not on the committee anymore, and you probably want to take a step back, but stay in touch, seriously. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to share a few words?
Not really.
Okay. Woman, a few words. And I know we're all making it like it's a big goodbye, so I'm just waiting what's next.
Okay.
So,
I'm ready. Whatever project involving making Palmetto Bay better, but keeping it natural, not development, I'm in there.
okay. You heard it here today, so I'm sure you're going to be actively involved. Another big round of applause for Sheila Frazier. Thank you. No, thank you. And if you will do us the honor of posing for a picture, we would appreciate it.
Thank you. He's the one that told me about this. I didn't know about it until he's the one that emailed me about this award.
Oh.
I didn't get
I don't know. I'm sorry. I thought, okay. Well, more on that later. Sorry for those that are watching from home. It's 20 minutes till 7 for those of you watching from home. We're going to take a break, let folks socialize for a bit, and we will see you at 7 o'clock for our regular council meeting. Thank you. Councilmember Fiore, our deacon.
Thank you very kindly, Madam Mayor. If we could all bow our heads in prayer, please. Tonight's reading is from Psalm 72, a prayer for Israel's king. Give the king thy judgments, O God, and thy righteousness unto the king's son. He shall judge thy people with righteousness, and thy poor with judgment. The mountains shall bring peace to the people, and the little hills by righteousness. Amen.
Thank you, amen. If I could get everybody to please stand. And Mr. Polito, could you lead us in the pledge? No problem. Mr. Kreischer, can you lead us in the pledge? To the flag of the United States. All right, wonderful. I'm not going to read the decorum statement. I think everyone knows how to approach the council. All right, with that, we will move into approval of minutes. This is the regular council meeting minutes from January 12th. Could somebody move them?
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. We're on to requests, petitions, and public comments. Before we start that, Mr. Quick, would this be the right time for me to make my request?
Yes, it would.
Okay. I put a copy of a resolution for your consideration. Unfortunately, I was not able to get the resolution in on time. It's related to Women's History Month. If it is the will of the council, I'd like to add it as, bear with me one second, I should have looked, as item 14D. Thank you.
I move.
It's been moved. Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Nay.
Okay. So we'll, Madam Clerk, it'll go 14D, right? Thank you. All right. At this time, we'll take requests, petitions, and public comments. These are requests, petitions, public comments that don't have anything to do with tonight's agenda. So come on up. And if you can queue up, awesome. If for some reason, Steve, you can wait if you want. If you can't queue up, no problem. We'll catch you in a minute.
Madam Mayor, before he begins,
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure
Thank
to
you.
advise the public, item 14C that's on the agenda was withdrawn in advance of the meeting. That I just want to make sure if there was anybody here who
Thank
planned
you.
to speak on that, general public comment would be the time now.
Yeah. Hold on, Mr. Singer. So, but I put this up, this item became 14D. If C is gone, should it be 14C, or it doesn't really matter?
It doesn't matter. I mean, for purposes, since we had something already noted as 14C on the agenda, we can call it 14D, but obviously we'll just skip,
Okay.
it'll
All right,
effectively
okay.
be C.
All right, go ahead, name and address, please.
David Singer, 8360 Southwest 154 Terrace. I'd like to read to you some of the judge's comments on the lawsuit Steve Cody has filed against both the Village of Palmetto Bay and Mark Merwitzer that's cost the village around $70,000 in attorney's fees, and that Mayor Cunningham has permitted under her watch. The frivolous lawsuit is regarding Mark Merwitzer swearing in November of 2024. Mr. Cody filed a plaintiff's motion on February 1st to rehear judge's motion to dismiss, even though it will continue to cost the village more money in attorney's fees. We can only hope that he will be held responsible for all fees that have to be paid, but unfortunately Steve Cody does not have the financial wherewithal to reimburse the village for attorney's fees. Meanwhile, he continues to play attorney on his own behalf. The comments from the judge in the case need to be recorded on Palmetto Bay record. Introduction. This is the judge, by the way. The actions seek declaratory relief based on a purported controversy that exists only in the plaintiff's mind, that would be Steve Cody, and are not in law or fact. Plaintiff asserts that the constitutional oath of office must be recited out loud and then signed before a notary public, despite no such requirement existing under either the Florida Constitution or Florida statutes. Because plaintiff fails to allege a bona fide actual and present controversy, dismissal with prejudice is required. Plaintiff, again, Mr. Steve Cody, demand for declaratory relief is premised entirely on a requirement of the plaintiff's own creation, namely that the oath of office must be notarized based on plaintiff's personal interpretation of the faith sworn in as alleged in paragraph 34. Plaintiff relies on a village charter provision stating that the term of office for a village commissioner ends upon the swearing in of his or her successor. Plaintiff does not allege, and the charter does not require any special unique swearing-in procedure. The requirement that an official be sworn into office arises from the Florida Constitution and not from the village charter. It is undisputed that the defendant orally recited the constitutional oath of office at the public swearing-in ceremony. This satisfies all constitutional requirements. Plaintiff, Mr. Codigan, improperly merges these distinct oaths and vests requirement for the constitutional oath of office that do not exist. The dismissal. The declaratory judgment action must be predicated on actual justifiable controversy existing at the time the plaintiff is filed. Courts must dismiss such actions when the alleged controversy is hypothetical, speculative, mute, or lacking sufficient intimacy and realty. The court recognizes that the dismissal with prejudice is a severe remedy and does
Mr.
not
Singer,
impose it
your time is up.
lightly.
Thank you. I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Steve Crutcher, 18201 Southwest 98th Avenue. As a follow-up to my request from last month, I did get a visit the following day from code enforcement, and he confirmed, yes, I do have a lot of dog excrement in my swale area, and it has expanded to both properties. And then later in the afternoon, I even had a visit from the manager, and he also confirmed the same thing. But I don't think we were able to come up with any tangible solutions that really, but this is going to be an ongoing situation the more we develop and put more people and more people with pets. So something needs to be really considered on how we're going to enforce this nuisance law that Miami-Dade County has on record. But I also wanted to speak later on 14C, but now you're telling me it's withdrawn. It's my opinion that the mayor's coalition ought to be strongly resisting this kind of bill, because it reads to me, and I'm not an attorney or anything, but it reads to me like a very vague and non-specific takeover of property rights anytime a developer wants to do anything. There's no limits, no boundaries, there's nothing. It's just the right to the state and no rights to the municipality. That combined with the threat of taking away your revenue, I don't know how you guys expect to be in existence very long if the state keeps playing with the power struggle that they're doing against municipalities. And Miami-Dade County ought to be involved. But it seems like your coalition of mayors would be a good place to start getting some resistance going. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Sally Chinkachith, 7740 Southwest 177th Street. I wasn't sure if I should do it here, or with the committee section on 8A, but I wanted to report that with the resilience, I'm coming in as a resiliency chair to report that the recycling event that we had for plastics produced a chair, a bench. We actually started in the second quarter, and this was at the behest of the Garden Club, and we have been recycling plastics from April of last year, and it's to December, and we collected almost 750 pounds, and the company that we started this program with saw that we were doing such an exemplary job. They gave us the bench even though we did not reach the 1,000 pounds, but if we had actually started from January to December, we actually would have exceeded their 1,000 pounds. So I just wanted to say that we have a new bench that is in the Butterfly Garden, and we're really, really proud of that achievement. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Adal Palkovich, 9280 Southwest 167 Terrace. One of the things I want to do is recognize our village clerk on an amazing job that she's doing, and also recognize our village manager. And it's always good to see when you come into the city hall how people do a great job, and also it has to do with our village manager who has all the department heads, and I appreciate what you guys doing. Also, I want to say thank you to our police department and our fire department that had to respond to the 7-Eleven because I almost had a seizure, and I'm glad that they got there and responded real quick. And I appreciate what job you guys doing. Thank you.
Thank you. You should be feeling the love, Mr. Manager and Madam Clerk.
James Woodard, address exempt. Palmetto Bay is the village of parks, yet all but one are for people. After years of work by neighbors, the woods were finally preserved as a sanctuary for wildlife with compatible passive use by people permitted. The lease with the county requires a nature trail either around or through the woods, but does not specify the location or other details. Prior to December, all path renditions reflected a perimeter path that would not infringe on wildlife. A path through the woods was never suggested. The lease specifically requires that improvements not significantly impact the natural, scientific, and wildlife values of the property. A center section path is not consistent with these mandates. The path around the perimeter of the property is specifically described in the lease. At the December public outreach, the Parks Director revealed that a meandering east-west path through the center of the woods will be constructed as it will be cheaper and faster. The center section is the most pristine and valuable plant and wildlife habitat. This meandering path will destroy native vegetation and rock formations. It will further invite human traffic and encroachment and permanently render the section unsuitable for wildlife. The central section has been described by Mr. Gann as intact with numerous endangered plants and solution holes that will shelter wildlife. These solution holes, some 3 to 4 feet deep, will also break legs, and sharp pinnacle limestone, exposed roots, and residual stumps can inflict serious injury. A perimeter path is consistent with what the neighbors want and were told we would get. The present proposal is not. If an east-west path is the only option incorporated into the proposed pine restoration, now essentially bulldozed land, don't let expedience destroy this project. The work now being done in the center section by Joel Otero with IRC is excellent. It is slow and painstaking. I am withholding judgment on the totally cleared areas to the north and southeast of the property that are destined to be pine rockland. They are blank canvas at the moment and far from the final objective. Any work planned for the remaining property should be deferred for many years to allow habitat restoration as a condition precedent to further disruption. Thank you.
Thank you. Last speaker.
Henry Clifford, 8875 Southwest 171st Street. 3 houses from the woods, been there since 1979. The woods have been there since about 2015 or so. I'm sorry, 1915 or so. The lease that we are obligated to perform requires that we put some sort of a trail in. Doesn't specify paved, does not exactly specify where it is, except we can't use the road. There seems to be some hurry or expediency on getting a path done before July the 31st, which I believe we have to. I've done the measurements, it's 1,200 feet on each side, 290 feet across. I could see that 290 feet is a lot quicker to do than 1,200 plus 1,200, but plus 290. My concern here is that we seem to be being in a hurry above and beyond what's required by the lease. When Dade County takes over a piece of land for woods, they tend to fence it off for between 5 and 10 years while they develop it the way they want, and they determine what they want to protect and what they want to allow you to see. We seem to be wanting to do everything in a very brief period of time. So the neighbors don't see this as a park so much as a wildlife sanctuary and a quiet place in the middle of the city. If you happen to be a fox or whatever that lives in there, he would probably just as soon not be any closer to humans while you're having your babies or sleeping for the night than you have to be. Putting a path through the middle of the most valuable part of the woods where you can break a leg just trying to walk and poke your eyes out if you veer off the trip path is going to upset the animals, and the lease says we're not supposed to be doing that. The fix here is, if people want a wilderness experience, you do it like the county does. You develop the wilderness around where you want them to go. So on the south end of the woods, where it butts up against two residences, we already have a 40 or more foot wide clear path of grass, part of which is going to end up being incorporated into a pine forest. And then they bulldoze a big swath going around about an acre, heading east and north. So that land has already been cleared. It's good solid land. It's going to be planted in pine trees. Mr. Tulberg sent you pictures of a similar path covered with pine trees and small shrubs that IRC helped make down at 184th Street, just east of Old Cutler Road. I suggested we incorporate as a place to carry out our required path, arcing from the 88th Court on the west side, around the edge of what's already been bulldozed, into the future pine forest to the east side. Thank you very much.
Excuse me. Thank you. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close request petitions and public comments, and I will turn it over to the village manager. Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for that reminder. Yes, Madam Clerk.
The Office of the Clerk received one public comment submitted by form. The comment was received by Eric Tolberg, 7885 Southwest 179 Terrace. I learned that the center part of the traffic circles at Southwest 67th Court and Southwest 67th Avenue is the responsibility of Pinecrest. After the last council meeting, I have suggested that Cutler Bay make the 44 feet center circle of the Southwest 184 traffic circle a pine rockland. Their manager said they already had plans to do that. It will be great to see pine trees when driving north on Old Cutler Road into Palmetto Bay. Thank you. That was the end of the comment.
Great. All right, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Olga, if you could put up my computer here, let me get on with the manager's report. Very good. So to begin with, in January, I briefed that our general fund ending fund balance was going to reflect about $1 million budget surplus. The total amount of that ending fund balance is $14.7 million. That represents about $400,000 more than what we briefed just in September. So it does reflect our projected surplus in September in all the documents that we briefed as part of the budget hearing. When the finance director added up and closed out fiscal year 25, we ended up nearly $400,000 better than what we forecast back in September. Good news, and a lot of that hard work from your department directors gets plowed right back into capital improvements. Everything from the Coral Reef Park recreation building, the new pickleball facility, playground improvements, and so on, all have come from, to a certain extent, our general fund surpluses that your department directors bring year after year. We currently have our annual audit in progress. Don't have any news to report yet. They're about 2 weeks into it. From our community rating system effort, we are continuing the work with our consultant group, WSP, to achieve that 4 rating. That would be very significant for anyone in the village, any property owner in the village who is required to purchase flood insurance. I'm very pleased to report that our Art in Public Places Call to Artist has received 207 total applications for the roundabout at 152nd and Old Cutler Road. So that represents well over 50 more than we had the first go-around. So looking forward to seeing what comes out of that call to artist. Spring recycling event is going to be April 25th. And our Coral Reef Park Recreation Facility, we are projecting a March 7th ribbon cutting. Moving on to Parks and Recreation, Veterans Park, we have just about concluded the RFP package, and we do expect to release that for bid in February, later this month in February. The Farmers Market RFP, I know the Village Council and members of the community are tracking that. We're going to have a pre-submission meeting here at Village Hall on February 3rd, and the bid opening is scheduled to be February 20th. Coral Reef Park, if you haven't been out there lately, you'll notice that the tennis courts are just about done in terms of the renovation. The building is just about completed. All of the installation for the playground improvements have been completed. There's still some painting we're going to do. If you can picture all of the shade structures we have out there, some of the poles are different colors. We're going to give it all a Palmetto Bay blue. So by the time the building opens, we'll have a completely refreshed and renovated playground. It'll look as good as the building does. Pickleball facility, the design and permitting continues in progress, as does the Palmetto Bay Skate Park. Let me give you a very quick update here on the woods. The bottom line up front is the invasives control, which is task 1, is about 65% complete. Task 2, we've started not only in the escarpment areas, but along the interior edges of the woods property itself. A couple of pictures up here of the scraped area. Again, the scraped areas will be replanted and brought back as a pine rockland. So what do we think is going to happen? We should really be substantially complete on task 1 within 2 weeks, and we'll finalize the task 2 requirements after we finish on that. Public services, the 92nd Avenue project is largely complete. The permanent speed tables have been added to it. I know a number of the council members have gotten questions from residents in and around that project, so they have been installed. We do have landscaping that we are going to add to the areas, not only the traffic chicanes and in the median area, but also other landscaping that's going to be part of that project. Subbasin 44, if you've been out there, project looks pretty good, just about done with that. Subbasin 43, still working on the funding, on actually receiving the funding for that subbasin. Last meeting, you approved the contract for Subbasin 42. We're excited to get that moving. Fiscal 25 traffic calming program, that's in front of you this evening. For the 82nd Avenue bike lane project, we expect to have the bid opening on February 5th, just a few days from now. Last meeting, my apologies. Last meeting, you did approve the contract for the sidewalk along 184th Street. We do expect to have an invitation to bid for a number of localized drainage projects, and that'll be February 17th. And finally, for Public Works, our village-wide landscaping contract expires in March, so we're preparing an ITB that's going to be advertised later this month. Planning and zoning, couple other items coming up for the February zoning hearing. A road abandonment, 67th Court. Sounds like it's a road. It's not actually a road. It's never been a road. If you're familiar with that one corner of the village, just by Deering, there are a number of what were road dedications that were made. They've never become public right-of-ways. They are in their natural states. So we're trying to clean up some of those problems that we have had along with the property owners for a number of years. So that item, 67th Court, that'll be in front of you in February, as well as a modification to the village code concerning driveways driven by a resident request through the vice mayor. So that'll be coming to you, those two items in February here. For the One Franjo Road project, that is the Live Local project here in the downtown, right across from Palmetto Station. Based on input from the vice mayor, I can report that the affidavit that was required has been signed, and that a covenant must be executed and recorded before the building permit will be issued for that project. For paid parking here in the village, here's a quick timeline for you. We're looking to do signage installation a little bit later in the month. In March, we're looking to have a 30-day public outreach education campaign so that residents, business owners, employees all know that we're going to start doing parking enforcement. After that 30-day outreach, we'll do a soft launch in April. We'll give a 30-day grace period where we'll only issue warnings, and then later in April, possibly early May, we'll transition to full enforcement. Again, it's a very reasonable $2 per hour, and it'll all be on the pay-by-phone, pay-by-app technology. Again, the village is just looking to break even, cover our costs of doing the enforcement. The whole purpose of these paid park areas are to support the local businesses so that where we do have neighborhood businesses, residents from multifamily projects are not able to just kind of park there 24/7. And then finally, I know it's been cold here in South Florida, and it pains me to report this, but today is Groundhog Day, and I must report that we are projected to have another 6 weeks of winter. And with that, Madam Mayor, happy to answer any questions.
That's something to celebrate in South Florida, honestly. Very good. We have a legislative update here as well on the agenda, or is there? It says lobbyist legislative update, no? I can't hear you, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
The update is included in the agenda packet.
Thank you, okay.
I can, if you want, Madam Mayor.
If you'd like to.
Yeah, but we did have one public comment. The sponsor of that bill, Senate Bill 1434, is very amenable to working with the village and municipalities to ensure that unintended effects, I think the purpose of that bill was rather narrow, and the sponsor is more than happy to work with us on that.
That's a good update. At this time, we will have the police commander or a designee. Oh, there she is. Good evening, Commander.
Good evening, all. This is our ComStat report for December. So we closed the year 5% under 2024. So we did really, really well. No homicides, no forcible sex offenses, no robberies, no larcenies over in December. One auto theft, and that's from BMW South. That's usually when they do their inventories. They always come up with missing vehicles, and then they appear somewhere else in another dealer, and we take them out of the system. But as for right now, it was reported stolen, so it counts towards us. Commercial burglaries, we had one in Big Lots, which we arrested the subject, and we had one in Coral Reef Park that we're still working on. Residential burglaries, we closed one by arrest. Subject was still inside the house. One was to a shed, and the other one was with someone's key, so they actually knew the subjects, I guess, but they opened the house with a key. Burglary to vehicles, they were all in the same place at the apartments here at Bay Village Apartments, and the subject was arrested, so all the property was recovered. No aggravated assaults for December, no aggravated batteries. This is the map where the burglaries were, I just talked about. The vehicle burglaries were all in the same place. Routine traffic enforcement. We focused in December, since school was out for such a long period of time, we focused on all the traffic concerns that we received, and that is the results. 1,274 citations. And I think that's it. Anybody have any questions?
Questions? Vice Mayor?
Yeah, so I'll start with an easy one. First of all, last year, I believe we had an extremely low crime rate, if not one of the most record low crime rates that we've had in a long time. I saw that the Village of Pinecrest did a video discussing that with the residents. I'm wondering if that's possible to do here in the Village of Palmetto Bay. I sent an email to the manager about that, and I just wanted to follow up on that request. Perfect.
I'll get with Communications Department.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to put that request on record. The next question that I have is, I saw through the manager's budget that your office is running how much of a surplus right now?
I don't receive those.
Okay, I guess it's all through the manager then.
The manager does that.
I think last month I reported about $275,000 through the first quarter of this year, which is actually pretty substantial. That's about a 10%.
And this,
surplus.
I just received, I don't get the numbers, I just get the percentage, because that's what the department does. So it's, this month, we came in 8% lower than last year, so.
Thank you. Just as a follow-up, is that from just the fact that gas is cheaper and your patrol cars don't have to fill up as much, or for cheaper gas, or is that with positions?
No, these are just overtime, court, special projects that we do, events and things like that. We've been able to just save the money. In Grinch, for example, we do in December, we do the holiday patrols. We cut that down a little bit because we had some help from the sheriff's office. They gave us their PRT, and they helped us out with a corridor on US 1. So that helped reduce the amount of overtime for December.
Sure, so the bulk of that, just for clarification, then was from overtime? It wasn't from like positions unfilled, or like what was that from?
No, that's just overtime. We only
Got it.
keep the budget for overtime. I'm sure they have different categories, but I keep the budget for overtime.
Got it, thank you. I have more questions for the manager. I don't know if anyone else has questions. If you'd like me to continue. Yeah, for the manager.
Report?
Yeah, for the manager's report.
Can we finish with the commander? Anyone else have anything for the commander? Very quickly, we just had a couple in here. I don't see them because the item is not on the agenda. They came last time related to the pedestrian bridge. I'm going to forward, when they send it, a video to you. It depicts, and the reason why I mention it, because I also saw it in my own backyard, it depicts a couple of youth, likely BB guns, but they're walking, they look like rifles, walking up the back of the swale on the canal. I think we had an incident where there were youth on boats on the C-100 canal. Just wondering if you could do a little bit of research.
We actually had a couple of calls, but they were hunting iguanas, and it's legal, so unless they're not on somebody's property. They can do it from the boat, and they can do it as long as they're not walking into someone's property, but they can hunt the iguanas with the BB guns.
Right, yeah. I think the video that I saw, in my case, they were on a boat, so I assumed that's what it was.
Yeah.
And we have a
an active resident,
proliferation
she
of
calls us.
iguanas in my area, so, and many of them had frozen. And
Yes.
were resting, so, but in this case, the young people were walking up and down the swale. I don't know, I guess that would be considered public easement,
Yes,
if you
it
will,
is.
but it was.
Depending on where it is, so
Yeah.
we
It
get
was
the.
off-put, I mean, for the family that
It
was there,
is.
when they saw it, they don't know whether it's a BB gun or a, air rifle of some sort or.
We
what
sent some
exactly what it
units
is.
out there and they made contact with them and everything was, they are allowed to carry.
I guess the message then would be, if you see something, call the police.
Call the police,
Yeah,
yes,
and
so as to
let you
verify.
address, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you so much on that, appreciate it. Are there any other questions for the commander? All right, and then go ahead, Vice Mayor, for the manager.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I was reading the first quarter budget report, and I saw that the village reported a surplus. I was wondering if you could please tell me where that surplus is coming from, if that's just from efficiencies, unfilled positions. I would like a breakdown as to where that money is coming from.
Well, I can get you a detailed report, but if you look at where the village spends our money, nearly 75% are people-related. So when you have a surplus, whether it's generated by the police or by other village departments, it's people-related. I do keep a number of positions vacant at the beginning of every fiscal year till I see which way it looks like the year is going to go in terms of revenues and expenditures. So without doing a deep dive, I can tell you they're all people-related. Some of them could be from position vacancies. Some, in the case of the police, could be overtime savings. It could also be regular employee costs from the police. Both the major as well as Sergeant Chang and Sergeant Fernandez are very good at keeping a very tight eye on where they need to have deputies. But it's people-related. I don't know if that's a good enough answer for now. I can get you details if you'd like.
Sure, I mean, that would work, but I just wanted to raise a concern now, because I feel like when most people see the word surplus, they think it's the village doing well, when in reality, by the sounds of it, it's just either people working harder, or B, we have positions that were vacant, that were available at the beginning of the fiscal year that just weren't filled. So the core concern that I have is that as we're heading into later on in this fiscal year, where we're looking at, for example, a $540,000 deficit in legal fees, where money was supposed to go, for example, to police overtime, to unfilled positions, that's money, in my view, that could have been used to either keep our community safe, do community outreach, do programming for our park staff, and that, by the sounds of it, is now having to be reallocated $540,000 just at the moment to legal fees. So I'm wondering how we're essentially not asking our residents to accept lower funding and positions elsewhere to cover our legal fees. And that's my core concern at the moment. If we have any kind of idea as to how we're prioritizing litigation cost over our other priorities that we set in our budget.
Could you actually rephrase the question? I'm not sure exactly what your question is, to be very honest.
So by the sounds of it, it sounds to me like we have unfilled positions at the moment in a number of departments, and also our department directors are under executing their assigned budget. And we're using that money that could have stayed in that department and be reinvested in that department. For example, if it's the sheriff's office, they could do community outreach. I think the major mentioned the Grinch event for Christmas. I believe Parks probably has a couple of other ideas I'm sure they could use that money for. And we're essentially taking that extra money that we gave them, and because they didn't have those positions filled, which, by the way, to the residents here just means that was a need that the village identified and just hasn't filled yet. My concern is that we're essentially taking that money and giving it off to our legal fees to fight legal battles for us. And I'm wondering if you could just explain how we're prioritizing our litigation cost over our public safety or our parks or our other priorities that this council set back in September.
Sure. So again, what I'm doing this year is not any different from what I've done every year. There may or may not be a requirement to augment the general fund budget in order to cover those projected legal fees. And again, I want to be very clear that the $500,000 number you're talking about is a projection. That's not a hard number that we know we have to pay. I think based on past year's data, it's probably a pretty good projection, but I just want to be clear that that number is a projection. as the year unfolds, as every year unfolds, the economic conditions drive some of the variable revenue sources, sales tax, the utility taxes do tend to vary in direct relationship with the broader economy. I frankly think at this point the economy is going to do much better than was originally forecast. We get all of our forecasts from the state, or in the case of things like franchise fees, we calculate that based off of what FPL gives us in terms of where they think their rates are going to be. Those projections tend to be very conservative, which is a good thing. We could find ourselves in a position towards the end or mid-year where it looks like our revenues may be better than expected. If that's the case, then I understand your point, and it is a valid point. It's a valid concern. We do have positions that are not filled. We're getting ready to open a recreation facility. At this point, I'm not hiring new people to run it. I do believe we have a very effective staffing plan that will see us through in good stead until we're in a position where we can make what I think would be a safe decision to hire new employees. So again, every year it goes like this. We start the fiscal year, we adjust based on expenditures, we look at where revenues are. I also have to keep an eye on hurricane season. It's very important for me, for example, to bank overtime savings at the beginning and the midpoint of the year. To me, that's critically important, especially for police. You could easily run up, at this point, with the size of our police department or policing unit, you could run up an additional $500,000 in overtime just based off of a very large named storm. Something like Irma hitting again could very easily incur those type of expenses. So it's important at the beginning of the year, to me, to bank those type of savings so that if there is something unexpected, if the economy does take an unexpected nosedive, or if we have a major named storm, we're able to adjust to it. And if not, I think we'll be in very good shape this year, and you may not need to augment the general fund in order to hit that $500,000 or $600,000 litigation expense.
Yeah, so just as a follow-up, two things. First, I wholeheartedly agree that we need to be very careful with how we reallocate our general fund, especially with hurricanes and everything else, which to me just makes it all the more important that we understand all of our costs that we need to project for, especially with our legal budget. The projection sure is $540,000. That means it can be higher, it could be lower. I'm worried it could be even higher because we don't have all the invoices back for some of the cases that were just concluded in court pending appeal. And that's my core concern, is that we're going to have to reallocate a lot of that because, as everyone on this dais knows, and for the members of the public who are watching, during our budget last year, we set our legal budget to $0, despite the fact that we have multiple cases pending. That brings me to my next question. I'm glad you mentioned it about the Coral Reef Rec Center. The core concern that I have with the rec center right now, I'm glad we're doing that ribbon cutting. I'm glad we're able to welcome residents to that. The core concern that I have is that why, when we were building this, when we had ARPA, when we had a different fiscal environment, was there no staffing plan presented when that was built? And now we're at about a month out from ribbon cutting, we're having to figure out our staffing plan long term. And from our own budget, it said it was a temporary solution. So I'm just wondering what the thought
With all
process
due
is.
respect, Vice Mayor, that's not a fair summation of what I said. That is not what I said, nor what I inferred. We do have a plan. We've had a plan all along. The one-time capital expenditure that we allocated to build the building is not the same line of expenditure, so to speak, that would pay for the full-time employee. So just because it was not presented to you doesn't mean that there's not a plan.
I'm sorry if you misinterpreted my question, but what I was getting at is when we invested in this capital project, the fact that your own budget report from September stated that we have to use a temporary staffing plan to take staff from our parks from special events to staff this building presents to me a situation where it sounds like we did not have a permanent staffing plan for this building when we invested in this capital project for that new Coral Reef building. I'm just wondering what the thought process was so that we can avoid this in the future.
Sure. So with all due respect, we do have a staffing plan. If you remember, I recommended a different millage than what was ultimately approved, and that is what has driven us to this point. It's not the lack of a plan, it's the lack of resources in terms of the general fund revenue for the Parks Department. That's put us, and we'll be fine. I mean, this, what you're bringing up is not an issue.
Thank you.
The building is gonna function fine.
Thank you. Do you have other questions?
Yeah, I would just make a motion then, because my core concern at the moment, just given the first quarter report, is that I would hope that the administration can come back to us either in the March or April meeting and present to us a report as to what our budget would look like had every position been filled, and also what our current structural situation looks like in our village without any of the one-time windfalls, because my understanding as well as part of our surplus right now is from the $500,000 donation from Diadem. So I'd greatly appreciate it if, as part of either your report next month or in the future, you can come back to us.
Let me be very clear about that last point, Vice Mayor. The surplus that I presented, the $14.7 million ending fund balance, is the ending fund balance from fiscal 2025. That does not include the $500,000 from Diadem that came in fiscal 26. So you can probably add another 500,000 to our fund balance, which is where it is in February of 2026. That's an important accounting fact that needs to be brought out here. The other part is, I'll be more than happy to give you a total dollar amount of the unfilled positions that we currently have. But again, this is why you hire a village manager, is to look at revenues and expenditures and figure out where we can find efficiencies, where we can accept lower staffing in order to make it through a period of time until the revenues recover. I mean, I've been doing that for 6 years here.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Do you have other questions?
Yeah, I just very briefly would just point out that.
I'm sorry, Vice Mayor, I clearly said question, which ends in a question mark. So do you mind asking a question, or are we just going to continue debate?
I wasn't trying to get into debate. I was trying to have a dialogue, and I had questions. He answered them, so I appreciate that. But
welcome.
The core concern is that I'm hoping that your office can bring back to us, regardless of the one-time donation that we got from Diadem, and regardless of the unfilled positions, I'd like to know what our budget would look like for next year when we fill those positions, and what that would look like without those one-time jumps in revenue, and what those projections look like now, so that we can start planning for our fiscal year conversations in September, in March, so that we're prepared. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. This isn't I'm not trying to have a hostile back and forth here. I'm trying to just get to the bottom of what our financial picture looks like for our village, and the fact that it was such a hostile conversation, I'm disappointed in that, but I'm just hoping, again, we can have that conversation next meeting or in the future. So thank you.
Again, Vice Mayor, with all due respect, I don't understand the hostility comment. I think we're just talking. I didn't realize this was hostile.
Well, given that I was being cut off by the mayor, and also
Because this is a time for asking questions. He's responding to the questions, and then we just it seems like there's a little back and forth. That's from my perspective, which I believe I could get some support on. We're going kind of back and forth here. Do you have anything else? Do you have anything else? Okay, great. A question? Yes.
All right, Mr. Manager, in terms of what a resident, Mr. Woodard, brought up and Mr. Clifford brought up about the path in the woods. All right. My question is, Was it changed? I thought that it was a path, that it was a perimeter path, and now it appears that it is a path through the central part of the woods. What happened?
No,
Or
ma'am.
is that the case?
Yeah, there's no change. This was the plan that IRC recommended to us. And again, they're the experts. They're going to be able to meander the trail. And I understand the concerns of wildlife and endangered plants. But again, IRC are the experts. They'll be able to meander the path. We'll be able to get that done. It's only, it's not even 300 feet. We'll be able to get that trail done. We will have met all the requirements at that point by the time we're done with that. And we'll be able to continue later and add a perimeter trail. These are not mutually exclusive.
More questions?
Yes, I have more questions. I have a follow-up for that I'll do during discussion. Another question is, where is the list of speed bumps? Because you're talking about a certain amount of money, $125,000 for traffic calming.
Yes, ma'am.
And I've gotten questions about speed bumps.
I'll have the department director, when he comes up for that item. That was on your agenda. I apologize for not republishing it in February, but it was part of the traffic calming study that was presented to you.
I have one more question. I think it's for the manager, although it might be for the attorney. What can we do about a resident and others, actually, that have continuing problems with dog excrement, and there's no enforcement? Can we do anything about that? Is it possible to have an ordinance?
The answer is yes, we can. The county does have an ordinance that we are also able to enforce. In the case of the one resident who spoke at public comment, I did have code enforcement speak to the management of both the apartment complexes nearby. It looks like the apartment complex to the south of his properties is where the problem seems to be coming from. We are able to put up signage, which we intend to do. We are able to enforce the existing county ordinance, and we do intend on doing that. If you'd like, I'll defer to the attorney, but I'm 99% sure the village could enact its own ordinance if that is something you'd be interested in doing.
Yeah, I'd say if we enacted ours, it would be done through code enforcement, unless we had an agreement with animal control to enforce. Have to work with the county and with animal control to see if they would enforce, say, otherwise it would be code enforcement.
Question, Mr. Manager, just to piggyback on Councilwoman Mattson, would it be possible, and how would we do this, I guess, through resolution or to follow up my question, not as it relates to enforcement, but as it relates to placement of bags, signs with bags. You can get a bag in a little garbage can kind of situation. I mean, I see it's normally around parks. It's not usually, in a residential area, but just a thought. It's a question.
Yeah, I mean, as long as there was a public easement or a public right-of-way where we could access to put that on there. Otherwise, we would need property owners' permission to do it, but it would just finding budget and going out and doing it. So
I'll follow up with you, because that might be the simplest of solutions, right? If folks have the opportunity to see there are bags. I watch folks in my neighborhood. We don't have sidewalks, just walking up and down the street. A lot of my neighbors are carrying bags now. I don't have an issue with it in my yard per se, but meaning I don't mind if they don't pick up in my yard, but I don't have children playing or anything like that. But yeah, I see the concern. All right, is there anything else on the manager?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me just discuss what Dr. Mattson did. I want to go back to the woods, Mr. Manager. I went into the woods with a resident about a week or 10 days ago, and I will tell you, I'm very impressed with the job that the IRC, is it, that they're doing internally in there. I know they had to scrape the front, but I will tell you, I had to go in there with a walking cane. There is solution holes, there's Pinnacle Rock. It is very dangerous. In my own opinion, and what I'd like to do, Mr. Manager, is maybe sit down with you and a representative from IRC at some time in the very near future, because I think it's going to be very, not just for the animals, but I mean, it's going to be very dangerous for the residents. They're really going to have to scrape everything out of their hole, and I think that defeats the purpose. I would rather see the path go around the perimeter as was stated. However, I'm going to, withhold judgment on that until we can meet, and maybe I can bring something back to the council. I'd like to hear what they have to say. So if you could set that up, I'd be happy to.
Will do.
All right, thank you. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Okay. More for the manager? Go ahead.
Yeah, just as a comment and follow-up to the commissioner, I also met with residents, and when I was going through there, I do a lot of hiking, and that was one heck of a treacherous trail in the woods. I felt like if I made one misstep, I would have twisted my ankle in there. So personally, I'm very concerned about the liability for the village of having a path through the woods there. And I understand that it's being worked on actively. My personal preference is that before the administration does any path through the woods, that they would come back to the council for that vote or discussion. So I'd like to make that motion that to go through the woods, that they would have to come back to council for that. So that'd be my motion.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. I don't understand what it is, this is discussion for me, so that I understand what it is you're asking.
So the concern of many residents that I met with is that going through the woods would create a conflict in many people's views, including my own, with the ecological mission of that restoration, because as you walk over vegetation or have a path through it, people wander off path, and it's also in an area that you don't want to go off path at all. So the concern is from many residents that they don't want to have a path through the woods, especially in that environmentally sensitive area. So the hope, and I know that the commissioner wants to work it out with the manager, I'm happy to talk with you too, but just for now, and also for the peace of mind for the residents who are here tonight, I'd like to just have a motion which was just moved and seconded that just says that if the administration wishes to have a path through the woods, they come back to council first. It's not for or against, it's just to bring discussion back to council before that happens.
Mr. Attorney?
Just a matter of procedure, if we can have that first be a motion to add it to the agenda, like a request added to the agenda, similar to what we did with the other agenda item that was added at the beginning of the meeting, and then we can move forward from there.
I'm fine, I'm amendable to that, as long as it's properly done.
It would be a motion to to add this to the agenda for discussion.
I move to add this to the agenda for discussion.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
been moved, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. We've already halfway into discussion, but thank you. Thanks for that. Okay, anything else? Go ahead.
One comment I'd like to make is that in the fee waivers in the agenda book, I had a very difficult time figuring out how much these fee waivers were costing because of the way it's being recorded. And I keep track of the fee waivers. Fee waivers, for people who don't know, are free use of our village facilities, including meeting rooms, including Thalata and so on. So I keep track of this. And in this agenda today, I really couldn't figure out the true cost of the fee waivers because, for example, the Feller Community Room in Ludovici Park is $268 for a meeting. However, the way it was recorded in the fee waivers spreadsheet is Saturdays, January through May, for the Casa Italia a Miami Corporation. These are Italian classes for children. So my rough calculation for this was if there were 22 Saturdays from January to May, instead of recording $268, we would have to record $5,896. And that's just a rough estimate of the number of Saturdays they would be using. So I went through other ones. Some were really astronomical, but I'm not going to mention those today. I'm just hoping, asking if you can have these reported in a more accurate fashion so I don't have to do rough calculations how much the fee waivers are, and so that it's more transparent to the public in terms of the cost of our fee waivers.
I've noted your comment. I'm going to have to look into it. I mean, for the record, I don't agree just looking at the matrix that it's not clear, but I will, in good faith, take it back, and I will report back in March to you.
I have one more comment.
Go ahead.
The other comment is that I just want to let the public know that on the finance report, the reportable checks, and speaking of legal budgets, $130,000 was spent on Luxcom this time for a challenge to the marine operation. So I just want to let you know this bill keeps going up and up and up with Luxcom. I think the last I noted it was approximately $1 million. I really don't have the exact figure, but we just added $130,000, and the lawsuit continues on. Thank you.
That's right. Mr. Attorney, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I'll have to look. I think that might be the legal bills for all of our legal bills.
That's what I was going to.
I'll have to, because that just doesn't sound right for the marine operating part. It might have just been how it was logged in into the spreadsheet, but that's roughly the, I mean, all of our invoices get sent at the same.
Would you just follow up with an email to all of us between now and the next meeting?
Exactly. I'll confirm if that was the total monthly ones, which would include any litigation that we are handling on behalf of the village. We're not handling all litigation, but it would include any litigation as well as general municipal and all the other things that we do non-litigation related. So I'll confirm and I'll send an email to everyone.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, just real quick, because I know we're on this motion as it relates to the woods. Is every step that's been taken thus far, because I know you gave a report, I think the last time, and I saw videos from the vice mayor out at the location, all very happy, everyone seemed very happy that, you know, the woods was being preserved and, you know, the process was taking place. Is everything that's occurred thus far been following the plan as outlined?
It has, Madam Mayor. I would just ask if the will of the village council is to direct that we not do the path through the woods, I would ask respectfully tonight that that is what you vote on, and we'll build a perimeter path. We'll figure out how to fund it. I really do not want to have, to be very honest, another agenda item coming up on this. I don't think any of us really need that.
Okay, we have a motion that's in front of us. Yes?
May I amend it then to prohibit then a walking path through the woods? That'd be an amendment to my motion.
Second.
Okay, there's discussion on this. I have a question for the manager. Will there be some cost savings involved in not putting the path through?
Well, definitely putting a path through is going to be significantly cheaper. I mean, it's only about a quarter the linear footage, rough estimate. But look, I'll find the funding.
Yeah, I'm very uncomfortable with changing things midstream, but yeah, I'm not comfortable with changing things midstream. We've actually discussed this probably in a large degree ad nauseum, right? We've several meetings, public discussions, and it's almost like we just can't get out of our own way to make good things happen. But we have a motion on the floor.
No, I'd like to comment.
We're still discussing. How are you closing before we're?
Well, you said you had a motion on the floor. I thought we were about to call the question.
No, we have a
Okay.
motion, we have a motion on the floor.
I would like to, one comment?
Yes.
Okay, I recall this as being a perimeter path. I do not recall discussion. I mean, to me, this just suddenly came up, and I heard about it from residents, of course, who are not happy about it. So I hope that my colleagues will vote not to have this path through the center, because, of course, this is a project that we want to be successful. We want the neighbors to be happy. And as far as I recall, it was a perimeter path, not a path through the center. That's it. Thank you.
You have a comment?
Yes,
Go ahead.
so a couple of comments. First, I view part of my job as whenever people reach out to me with an issue, especially while that issue is under construction, I like to go and respond to them, especially in person, and see what's going on myself. So relating to the previous conversations, we've had so many conversations. In my view, we can't have enough conversations with this because it's such an important project. So I value what the residents have sent me about this and their feedback so far, which is precisely why I'm doing this in the first place. So that's number one. And number two, to the manager's concerns about the cost, there's two things to that. The first is that I can tell you right now that if we have someone going off path in those woods and someone trips, God forbid, and twists their ankle or dislocates their knee or has another injury, or that the trail is not properly cleared or whatever it is, I would bet that the personal injury cost on that is going to be a lot higher than the cost of just going around. Just seeing that condition myself, I have that serious concern. And the other thing I would just point to is many of the residents express comfort to me directly that they're not opposed to a path through the woods per se. They're concerned about a path through the woods in that ecologically sensitive area. And those same residents were open to having a path through the woods, for example, in that south end that was cleared. So that's an option, and I'm happy to be amenable to that, just so that we can address that cost savings point and to give you that discretion. So I'm happy to work through that and listen to those residents that have reached out. So that'd be another amendment to my amendment, but I would just like to clarify that that prohibition only applies to areas that were not clear cut. So that'd be my motion as well. So
You repeat the motion in its entirety.
the entirety of the motion is no paths through the woods unless it was through a clear cut area.
Thank you. That's your, you're
Final.
not amending it again, are you?
Final.
Is there a second for the final amendment? And other discussion? No. Councilmember Fury.
Yeah, I didn't want it to get like this, but that's fine. I think, and I'm going to defer to the vendor on this and to the manager, but, I do understand, and until you go in there yourself and see it, it's difficult. However, I would like the public to know, we are not prohibiting people from going inside the woods, correct, Mr. Manager? They can go in there. We don't want to put a path and invite liability issues. I guess that's all I'd say. So put the path around the end. I'm not talking about it no more. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Were you asking him something or just a kind of rhetorical question? Okay. All right. With that, are we done? Okay. Let's take a vote. All those in favor?
Roll call, please.
Madam Clerk, go ahead and call the roll.
Vice Mayor Mark Meritzer?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Cody?
No.
Councilmember Patrick Fiori?
Yes.
Mayor Karen Cunningham?
No.
Councilmember Marsha Matten?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. And Madam Clerk, you have all the relevant information, correct? Very good. Okay. We are still on the manager's report, and it is 8:10. So I will move now to the attorney's report. Maybe you could give us a expedited.
I'll be quick. I speak with you all on a fairly regular basis, and you've seen my invoices. If you have any questions, I know normally you reach out. I obviously will follow up on the question with regard to the invoice as noted in the manager's report, but anything else, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Questions for the attorney? All right, you are spared. Madam Clerk?
Madam Mayor, I had comments for the attorney.
Can we hold comments on the, can you hold it until council comments rather than comments on the attorney's report? Do you mind?
Sure.
Okay. All right, Madam Clerk?
Regarding the announcement of the public meetings for February 2026, the Parks and Recreation Committee is meeting on Thursday, February 5th at 6 p.m. There will be a Veterans Park Task Force meeting on Tuesday, February 10th at 4 p.m. The Charter Revision Commission is scheduled to meet on Wednesday, February 18th at 6 p.m. The Resiliency Committee is meeting on Thursday, February 19th at 6 p.m. The Village Council shall host a zoning hearing on Monday, February 23rd at 7 p.m. The Art in Public Places Advisory Board is meeting on Thursday, February 26th at 6 p.m. There will be a joint meeting of the Education Advisory Committees between the Village of Pinecrest and the Village of Palmetto Bay on Monday, February 23rd at 7:30 p.m. at Evelyn Greer Park in the Village of Pinecrest. All public meetings provide an opportunity for the public to stay informed and actively participate. Please be advised that Village Hall will be closed on Monday, February 16th in observance of the President's Day holiday. The next regular council meeting of the council shall be held on Monday, March 2nd at 7 p.m. My last announcement regarding advisory boards and committees. Please be advised that Councilmember Cody currently has one vacancy on the Parks and Recreation Committee, and Vice Mayor Mark Meritzer has one vacancy on the Education Advisory Committee. Residents who are interested in serving and contributing to the community are encouraged to apply. Additional information applications are available through the village clerk's office. Thank you, and this concludes my clerk report.
Thank you. Questions for the clerk?
I have one.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to confirm when the grand opening of the Coral Reef Multipurpose Room is. What date is that?
I think it was March 7th. I believe it's right before the village picnic.
She mentioned that.
Okay, so that means, and the last announcement was for it to be combined with the picnic. Am
That
I
is correct.
So the picnic is going to be on the 28th or in March?
March 7th.
Okay.
Yes, March 7th.
Okay.
Yes, we did that as a courtesy because one of our colleagues is not going to be here in the end of February. Okay. Madam Clerk, I did have a question, but I don't know. Now I've forgotten. I'll come back. All right. Committee reports. I did invite Jorge Polito, the chair of our Education Advisory Board, to come up and give us a quick update on our Education Advisory Board.
All right, good evening, Council, Mayor, Village Attorney, Manager, and staff. First of all, on behalf of the Education Advisory Committee, happy Black History Month. The Education Advisory Committee is actually glad to present for a second year in a row an exciting event in celebration of our history on Tuesday, February 24th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. here at Village Hall. It's called a Family Adventure in Black History and Culture, sponsored by Miami Center for Black History, Books and Books, and The Village. And this is open to families with children ages 5 to 12. There will be free pizza, free book copies as read by local author Dr. Michael Woodward Jr., and presentation by Palmetto Bay resident Dr. Marvin Dunn. This will be advertised on social media as of tomorrow. We actually have some flyers there for anybody that's here interested. And we hope that you all can be able to join us and spread the word to our residents and neighbors. Second update that we would like to provide is that public education started in the 1600s, became required by the 1900s, and desegregated in 1954, and it ensures democracy by giving all children free, equal education, regardless of wealth, preventing schools from becoming a privilege only for the rich. It hasn't been a perfect system, but nothing is, and there is room for improvement. I myself, like majority of folks probably in this room, are proud products of the public education system. In fact, I started off in the state of New Jersey, public schools number 17, 14, and 5, Paterson, New Jersey. Graduated in the only high school in the U.S. that's named after Rosa L. Parks, even getting the opportunity to meet her before she passed, and to attend the public research university right here in Miami at FIU. So I'm made 100% in public system, just like some other folks in this room. Now, last Monday, the Education Advisory Committee of Palmetto Bay and Pinecrest hosted a joint session with our community, local public school education proponents and parents to discuss updates on Schools of Hope rule change. and our community's staunch opposition to this. In fact, some background for this for our residents. The Florida Department of Education has proposed a rule change that would allow private schools of hope operators to co-locate in district-owned school facilities at no cost to the operators while requiring districts to provide facilities related to services. Now, this is going to greatly impact our schools here. In fact, Howard Drive Elementary is ground zero for this. This will cause a financial burden, limited local control, facility access restrictions, unfunded mandates, and, dare I say, increased traffic. We've all been battling that for quite some time. Now imagine if you own a house with some extra bedrooms, and the state passes a law saying that you must let a stranger move into those rooms for free. Not only that, but you have to pay for their utilities, clean their rooms, provide their meals, and drive them around town. Meanwhile, the state gives the roommate money that's supposed to help with housing costs, but they get to keep it, all while living in your house for free. And if you say no, well, the state can force you to do it anyway. Here's another example. We have a lot of local businesses. What if we have a local family-owned restaurant with extra dining space? The government tells another restaurant chain they can set up inside your building for free. You have to provide the space, clean it, keep the lights on, and even cook food for their customers. But you can only charge them for the extra soap and electricity that they use. Meanwhile, they get special government grants for restaurant operations that they keep for themselves. Well, our school district is the restaurant, and it's being told to share its space and resources with almost no compensation. Howard Drive Elementary, again, is ground zero as one of the many schools, okay, in our public school district in Miami-Dade County, and this is just the tip of the Titanic iceberg, ladies and gentlemen. This council approved the legislative slate provided by Miami-Dade Public Schools as presented to the Education Advisory Committee, which runs completely opposite to this and in fact helps our community schools without a privatized takeover. We ask a recommendation from the council, from the Education Advisory Committee. We ask that the council adopt a motion tonight supporting the school board's position, opposing these rule changes, and urging the State Board of Education to reject the proposed amendments, again, tonight. Now, there is a hearing for those in the public and our residents that if you can definitely be able to join, either virtually or in person, February 20th, 2026, 9 a.m. in Key West, Florida. The last update that I'll give you in terms of this current legislative slate in the state of Florida, we have several on the board right now that are SB 0420, patriotic displays, SB 0320, school admin efficient, SB 0318, voucher expansion, HB 1119, library book removals, SB 1090, health education opt-in, HJR 583, religious expression, and HB 1071, local control, curriculum restrictions. It all undermines public education by prioritizing political ideology over educational expertise. All of these strips local control. It diverts taxpayer funds to private vouchers. Just have one, I'm finishing up. Thank you very much. And it provides funds to private vouchers, enables censorship, restricts health education, imposes religious mandates, and hampers our educators' professional judgment, fragmenting the equal accessible public system designed to serve all students, regardless of background and wealth, which I stated earlier. So again, please, for this second item, we would also encourage, again, passing another motion solidifying the opposition to these awful laws and reconfirm your support of the Miami-Dade Public Schools legislation suggestions that was presented to us and presented to you all and has been approved as of December, and discuss this with our local state representatives. We encourage our community to do the same. Let's fight for our public schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just as an FYI, we also have another joint education committee meeting coming up. I think it's on the 23rd, and it's at 7:30. It's at Evelyn Greer Park at the can't remember the name of the Leslie Bow Community Center. So thank you for leading that charge. Councilmember Fiore, If I could, Madam Clerk, to go back to your calendar, I believe, and I don't want to speak for my colleague, but someone had mentioned that there might have been a request for change or cancellation of the zoning hearing. Is someone going to help me out? Thank you.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I let the village attorney know last week, so I'll be out of town. When is it done? February 23rd? So I don't know if the items on there are, I mean, if they're detrimental to anything for a resident, then, well, then maybe we should change it. I don't know, but I'd ask the council maybe we could just put those two items for the March meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney.
Yeah, and in terms of timing-wise, it probably makes sense because for advertising purposes, it would be difficult to move it ahead, which we'd actually already moved it from there. So if we bumped it back, then you're looking at only like 2 weeks, a week and a half to 2 weeks until the next zoning meeting anyway. So it probably makes sense just to move the two items onto the March agenda.
Are the applicants, I mean, I know you just found out, but would the applicants be amenable to it? I haven't seen the agenda as items, so I'm sorry, I'm just speaking.
One of the items is a village-initiated code change. The other item was the road abandonment that was being discussed before, so I'm not sure.
So those are our items.
Well, the road abandonment technically does have an applicant from a neighbor.
Gotcha, that's right, yes.
But yeah, it's something that we are working on too. Yeah.
I would be okay with moving them. Vice Mayor?
My only question is, that's my item, that's the village's item is what we worked on together. I'm just wondering if this item or this meeting was postponed or canceled, would that ordinance be able to appear on our March agenda under our ordinances, or would that require a separate meeting in March later on?
No, I mean, we would put it on in the March agenda, yeah.
The regular council or zoning?
The zoning one, yeah.
Got it. There's no rush with it, so, sure.
Okay, so.
And I think it's sorry, Madam Mayor.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, the current date where it is right now is, because it got moved back, I think you're 2.5 to 3 weeks until the next zoning meeting anyway, because it got bumped back. We had moved it back a week from when it normally would have been because of President's Day.
Okay, there's a motion, is there a second? Second. Any more discussion on it? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, so our March 23rd, I'll be at the meeting. I thought I wasn't going to be able to make it. So February 23rd meeting those items have been deferred to the March meeting. All right, we are now on ordinances for second reading. Would somebody move item 10A?
Move it. Second.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Please read the item.
An ordinance of the Mayor and Village Council of the Village of Palmetto Bay, Florida, relating to Division 2. Meetings, amending Section 2-44, meetings of the Village Code of Ordinances to modify the start time of public meetings from 7 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date. This item is sponsored by Mayor Karen Cunningham, and it passed first reading on November 17, 2025, at its special council meeting.
Thank you. Any members of the public wish to comment on the item?
Archer, 18201 Southwest 98th Avenue. It's more of a question than a comment, I think. But I'm wondering, is this move to 6:30 to incorporate the proclamations legally that are in the agenda to start with a quorum and regular meeting start time, as opposed to right now they're being started outside the meeting and sometimes don't even have a quorum. But they are an agenda, and item number 2 is the proclamation. So other than that, I'm not sure that there's much gain other than clarifying that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
F. Gerald, 14271 Southwest 74th Court. I would, of course, preferred keeping the start time at 7. I used to work at Miami Beach, and it was always a challenge to get here for the start of the meeting. However, 6:30 is better than 4 p.m. So I thought that was a nonsensical idea and really insulting to the public. But, you know, I would have preferred keeping it the start of the meeting time at 7, but if you all are insistent, 6:30 is not quite as bad. So that's what I'm going to say. But, you know, our really what we should be doing is encouraging people to come. And this is, I think I made this point before, that many of our residents work far away from Palmetto Bay. And our traffic isn't getting any better. So, and most of us are going to be using our cars. I tried once using public transit, and it took me 2 hours. So I just, you know, want us to be cognizant and respectful of the time of our residents. And if we want them to participate in our meetings, we should not make it harder for them. So I'm not really fully in support of this, but certainly maybe 6:30 is bearable. But if you start the meeting at time, not 6:30 and then do the proclamations. If you're going to do proclamations, they must be done in advance. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Henry Clifford, 8875 Southwest 171st Street. Seems to me that the people who are going to get awards for their children, families, organizations are motivated to come out here before dinner or whatever time is necessary in order to receive the awards earlier. To have the awards go from 6 to 7 is kind of eats into the valuable time that we have. We have a history of going way too late on our meetings. This was actually wonderful at the very beginning of our existence, where we had to be out of the room before 9:30 when they closed the doors. And we had managed to get all of our business done before 9:30, and they did close the doors at 9:30. That was over the Deering Visitor Center. I believe part of the problem is too many items that don't get finished and have to be heard again and again. Too many excessive delays in comments that don't really need to be. Years ago, I asked Mayor Flynn, then Mayor Flynn, to limit the council comments to something a little bit more than what we're limited to out here, because I didn't see where a council should be able to speak for unlimited periods of time on an item they did not sponsor. That did not happen. It's another way to cut when this was first proposed, with us coming back, interrupting for awards and coming back, I noticed a problem, and I don't know if it's still there or not. And that was that it didn't address the ending time of the meeting. It did not change anything. And we have an ordinance that says 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever it is. And if you can start this meeting earlier, and you can still go to 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock or whatever without a vote, it just means the whole thing can be dragged out and still get items deferred. So I'm in favor. I don't mind at all going down to 6:30. I think it's doable. I would love to see all the awards done beforehand, and we just have concentrated meeting until we get everything done, hopefully at 9:30 or 10. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
David Singer, 8360 Southwest 154 Terrace. Can I combine items 10A and 10C together in my comments?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So, you know, unfortunately, there's a reason that nobody comes to these meetings except for Steve Cody's bad behavior that continues. Okay, it's the fact that you guys pontificate endlessly, and half the things that you're discussing on, and I don't mean to rip anybody, half the things you guys are discussing on the podium right now could be discussed with the village manager or the village attorney and not open to the public. I don't think the public cares about some of these things you guys are discussing. You just spent an hour and 15 minutes on a manager's report where, I'm sorry, you could have sat there, the vice mayor could have sat there and gotten in a room with the village manager and discussed half these questions. It's just out of control. That's why nobody is showing up, because it's tedious, it's boring, and nobody's that interested in some of the questions that you're asking. When I was up there, I had questions to ask. I dragged Ed, who's here, or somebody else, okay, in the back room, and I said, hey, let's have a conversation, go through the budget, and went through the financials and everything. Nobody needs the pontification that some of you guys do in and out. It's disturbing. It really is. We all know you guys are bright. Well, most of you all. Bright. We all know that you have questions. Please just take some of this business and do it before the meetings so we don't have to start at 6:30, because it's hard to get from Coconut Grove to Palmetto Bay by 6:30, okay? And you don't have to go past 11 o'clock, and you don't have to keep on rolling over agenda items. Follow Robert's rules. Limit your conversations to 10 minutes and move on, and stop boring the hell out of the goddamn residents. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Vice Mayor, Mr. Chair. At least correct the foul language, if you don't mind, please. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Hi, good evening, Karen Bice-Wallace, 7380 Southwest 141st Terrace. I'm going to ask the same courtesy to be extended about the two items, please. Thank you, Vice Mayor. I don't necessarily agree with coming in at 6:30. It is difficult for those of us to work till 5 to try to get through traffic to get here. However, excessive discussions, and now that last meeting, you guys are, some of you, partly going to be on Zoom. Our attendance, there's always the same handful of people here, so you have excessive conversations, earlier start times, and now half of our council can attend through Zooms. I don't think we're going to have a lot of participation from our residents. So I am in favor at 6:30, so I don't have to stay here till 11 along with you or whoever, but please limit your conversations to 10 minutes. It really would be a little bit more tolerable so we can get out of here at a more reasonable amount of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Tyler Parker, 9280 Southwest 167 Terrace, Palmetto Bay. I have no problem coming here at 6:30, but I think that Palmetto Bay should provide coffee and donuts, so we have to stay over till over 9 o'clock. You know, we gotta have coffee because in the morning, it's hard to get up when you live here at 11, 11:30, and you have to be out by the house at 7 o'clock. I have no problem being here at 6:30. I have no problem staying here till midnight, but I think we should have coffee, and we have to stay that long. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any comments by form? No comments by form. Thank you, Madam Mayor. You're recognized to open.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate all the comments. I have to tell you that the item really is a shell of what I had originally requested, and I'll go back to that for just a moment. When I brought the item on first reading, I asked for 5 o'clock. There was a discrepancy. Yes, I did, Ms. Gerald. I asked for a 5 o'clock start, and here's why. Tonight is a very good example of it. We started at 7 o'clock. We had our recognitions at 6:30. We started at 7 o'clock, as one of the speakers pointed out. Thank you, Mr. Singer. We finished with the manager's report, well, the three reports. I think it was at 8:20. So, and I did give, one of our chairs who had made a request to be able to speak about state legislature and education committee that opportunity to do so. We do that with our committees. That said, originally 5 o'clock, get through all the reports. That's an hour and a half, maybe not, maybe it's only an hour, right? If folks don't want to spend time with the village manager prior, as one of the speakers mentioned, well, then we've started at 5 o'clock and we get through all of the reports, all of the questions, discussion, speeches, comments, whatever, in that amount of time as it relates to request petitions, public comments, for the first go-around, because I had asked for 2 request petitions and public comments in my original ordinance. We would get through the village manager's report, the police report, the village attorney's report, the clerk's report, the board and committee reports. We would stop. So 5 to 6:30. We'd get through all of those reports. Hey, maybe even have 30 minutes to have some dinner in between while we're waiting to restart the meeting at 6:30. 6:30, we were going to do our recognitions. 7 o'clock, we would begin the meeting again, and that would be another opportunity for requests, petitions, and public comments. Now, maybe I was not clear in my explanations, and maybe people saw Neighbors Alliance and a number of other emails that went out, one from a colleague, that explained things differently, that I'm trying to cut off public comment, when in reality, I was trying to give the people that want to be here for the bulk of the meeting. I'm not saying people don't want to hear it. Manager, I hope you're not offended by me saying they don't want to hear your report, or Madam Clerk, I hope you're not offended that they don't want to hear your report, or Mr. Attorney, but they can go play them on a rerun. They can go back to Facebook and watch them, as many people do, or go on YouTube, or all the other avenues that we have. So to me right now, after I reread, and then we got an email, and I know there's a number of motions that want to be made, I walked down to talk with the manager, because in part, it really is to save some staff time too, in my opinion. But my original item doubled the amount of time that you, the residents, you, the meeting goers, would have the opportunity to speak, 2 times for requests, petitions, and public comments. This actually puts the people that we want to, cheer and celebrate at a disadvantage, because then they'd be coming in at 5:45. I wasn't asking for more time for recognitions. I was asking for more time to spend on these things that are obviously very important, because we spent an hour and 20 minutes on them tonight. So I think I'm in under my 10 minutes, but I would like to make a motion to withdraw my item, because it's no longer my item. I'm not pleased with it. I think all the changes, maybe there was a misunderstanding or a lack of understanding of the direction I was trying to take, when in reality, I want you to walk in at 7 o'clock and be able to hear first item, second item, and be able to speak to those items, and be able to have your opportunity for requests, petitions, and public comments, which, mind you, the request, petitions, and public comments, they have to do with nothing that's on the agenda, but you would have another opportunity to speak if you've got something that you need to say, or you can't stay till the end of the meeting, as we often allow for during our request, petitions, and public comments. So my item, I asked the village attorney, I would like to make a motion to withdraw. Is that the correct motion?
Yeah, it would be a motion to withdraw the item.
Okay, and I would like to get support on withdrawal of my own item.
There's a motion, there's a second. I believe discussion's allowed for motions to withdraw, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. I will just jump in for like 10 seconds here. I will just point out that there are other ways we can make our meetings more efficient. They were previously brought to this council. They were also previously rejected. It's highly unfortunate that happened. And I'd also just point out for the record that the discussion that we had in that prior hour and 20 minutes had substantive results, and many of those residents who are here in the audience got what they came for from that discussion, so it wasn't like that hour and 20 minutes was a waste. Just want to put that on the record. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the withdrawal, please.
Councilmember Marsha Matson?
Yes.
Mayor Karen Cunningham?
Yes.
Councilmember Patrick Fiore?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Cody?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mark Meritzer?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passed 5-0. We are moving to 10B. Would somebody move item 10B forward?
Second.
It's been moved, it's been seconded. Madam Clerk, please read the item.
An ordinance of the Mayor and Village Council of the Village of Palmetto Bay, amending Section 2-51 Charter Revision Commission of the Village Code, requiring the council to forward to the village electors all charter amendments or revisions unaltered as recommended by the Charter Revision Commission, clarifying that the Village Council may submit alternative amendments or revisions, providing for codification, severability, and an effective date. This ordinance is sponsored by Councilmember Marsha Matson, passed on first reading on January 12th, 2026 at its regular council meeting.
Wonderful. Public comment?
FJR 14271 Southwest 74th Court. I am strongly in favor of this. I was the chair of the second Charter Revision Commission, and I know how hard we work on putting forth amendments that we feel we want the residents to see. If the residents don't like them, they'll vote no. It's that simple. And I feel maybe there can be, and I'm not saying there would be, but the possibility for tweaking by the council with the amendments that have been put forth by this group, I think would be most unfortunate. And I do feel very disappointed that the liaison to this committee, Mr. Cody, when one of the members asked Councilwoman Mattson if she would sponsor it, and then he was asked if he would co-sponsor, and at that time he said yes. And the next day he withdrew his support. So I would feel that it is not going along, generally a liaison will be amenable to the people for the group that he is the liaison to, or he or she. And I just found it curious and very disappointing, to say the least. I'm not going to get into all my other feelings about District 2 representative, but I do feel it was unfortunate that he would not support the members he withdrew his support, in my estimation. There's no reason to say, you know best. These are residents, very well-qualified residents, appointed by all of you, including 2 attorneys on that group. So I really feel it was insulting to say that, no, it has to go. Of course, you're going to have to hear what the amendments are. You need to know what is going on the ballot, but I don't think you should be able to change them. They should be able to move it right forth to be put on the ballot without interference. And if you want to present your own counters, you're able to do that. But I would hope you would respect the people that you have appointed to this very important committee. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, point of order.
Yes, go ahead.
I was attacked in that I would like to respond.
Parliamentarian.
Yeah, I mean, since it was brought up specifically, he's entitled to respond. Yeah. Just respond directly to what was brought up, that is.
Mr. Clifford, could you give us a moment? Go ahead.
Thank you. This may surprise the lady who came up to the podium, but the reason that I withdrew that, my support for that, was that was something that was not noticed. And it occurred to me afterwards that what Marcia asked me to do was a violation of the Sunshine Law. So I could not, in good conscience, approve that. However, given your history with the Neighborhood Protection Committee, I understand how you might not understand this kind of thing.
Point of order.
That is why
Point
I
of
did it.
order. You cannot use your platform to respond to an attack to attack a resident like that.
Excuse me. Mr. Parliamentarian?
It seemed that he was responding to what was raised of him. I didn't see an issue with it.
Thank you.
I'd like to appeal the ruling of the attorney.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Okay.
One of our
Motion
members
fails.
is not here.
I know, he
We
stepped
had a vote and
away.
he's not here.
He stepped away.
Well, shouldn't we delay it until he gets back? Because
I'd like to continue with the meeting.
I'd like a roll call vote on
But I
the
think,
appeal.
okay, point of order.
Excuse me,
Is that
please
not a
don't-
violation
excuse
of
me.
the law when
Excuse me.
a member, I'm talking to the.
You're
law
going to be
on a point of
recognized,
order.
but you need to be recognized.
All right,
And
point
don't
of
please,
order.
yes, don't talk over me, Councilwoman, please. I understand you feel passionate about it. I want you to be able to speak, but at least let me chair the meeting.
All right, point of order.
Yes, Councilwoman. What is your point of order?
Point of order is that a council member is not present to vote. That's a violation of the law. If he's in the building, we should delay the vote until he gets back on the dais.
I'm not aware of a law that says you have to delay the vote. If a council member is present, he has to vote unless there is a conflict. If a council member is not present, then he's not present to vote. I mean,
Thank you.
Respectfully, I requested a roll call vote on that vote we just had, please.
Okay, we can do a roll call vote.
Please.
Not a problem. Go ahead.
Vice Mayor Mark Meritzer.
Pursuant to the rule where I get to explain my vote, I would just say that it's highly unfortunate that we have a colleague who is using their platform instead of setting the record straight, which is what he was given the ability to do, to attack a resident who had the time to come out and speak. So I'm voting yes. Thank you.
Councilmember Steve Cody.
No.
Mayor Karen Cunningham.
Based on the attorney's and parliamentarians' opinion, no.
Councilmember Marsha Matson.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. The motion or item fails. Are you done? Have you completed your comments?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Clifford, come on back up. Thank you. Can you give us your name and address, please?
Henry Clifford, 8875 Southwest 171 Street. When someone says, with all due respect, it usually means there's no respect. I actually have respect here, but the parliamentarian was wrong. We went over this as a state law when Marsha Matson had to leave in a hurry, and then other people went into the back and talked about it. They missed a vote. She missed a vote. The state law is very clear that says if you are in the building, very clear, we went over this ad nauseum, if you're in the building, you're required to vote. And you need to look that up because we saw it in black and white. All right, so where was I? I can't even remember what I came up here. What's the item what we're talking about?
Charter revision.
Charter revision, okay. So our founders in the, I'm sorry, I'm getting old too. So that our founders of this republic didn't trust government and set things up so where there are ways that the public could preserve their dignity or their rights or whatever it is against the onerous actions of a government. So we have a state of Florida constitution that requires certain things to happen in a Dade County charter which echoes those things, and our charter which echoes the same things. So there's a provision in there for you all to appoint a panel to suggest changes to our governing document. There's a mechanism built in, including that one into the state, that says that the public can initiate changes if they wish, and there's a whole process they have to go through. And then it says in our charter that an ordinance will be created to make sure this thing can happen. And we didn't do it. So there's in our ordinance that we created, it's very clear on the process of the citizens' initiative out there to suggest changes. It's very clear that you have to put them on the ballot. There's no question. When we made an ordinance, we only talked about that. It's like our internal charter review committee, which was there in the county and in the state, didn't exist. So the way that this is worded, the way that the system is set up, is to go around you so you cannot impose your will upon the Constitution, if you like. And again, it's quite clear that if you have a competing item that you don't like what's there, you pass these things on, you put your competing item on the ballot, the public gets to decide. That's us. Our voters out here, we're supposed to be sovereign. We get to decide which one we want. But if we don't get to see it, we can't make that decision. Please vote for the passing on. I'm not sure what the item is. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
David Singer, 8360 Southwest 154 Terrace. I got to tell you something. When I was up on that dais and I got attacked, and it was numerous times, I was never permitted to attack a resident. Everybody up there, your job is basically to hear criticism. If you don't like it, step up and leave the dais. You don't attack residents. It's indecorum. Now, I'm sorry, but the village attorney was not paying attention when Mr. Cody was talking about Bev Gerald. He's not paying attention to me right now either. So that's exactly why he did not hear Mr. Cody say things he should have never said to Bev Gerald. Nobody should be attacking residents. You guys need to get Robert's rules and learn your jobs. This is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's like a dysfunctional family. I'm sorry. You don't attack residents.
All right. Are we back on track, I think? Okay, we voted, now are we back on the item? Please say we are. Okay. All right. Any more comments? Do we have anything from comments by form? Thanks. All right, it's all yours, Marcia.
All right, this is the second reading of this ordinance. It passed the first time, so I'm not going to belabor it. I just want to say that this affirms the independent authority of the Charter Revision Commission, which is very important because there's been debate and controversy about it, a mixed history. And so this is for really not so much this Charter Revision Commission, because we already passed an ordinance to give them the authority to place issues directly on the ballot without the council altering them. So I hope that you will support it again, and there's no changes in it whatsoever. This just affirms their authority for the future, so we don't have to go through this. And also, let me just correct Steve on this, that I wasn't the one who asked you to co-sponsor. It was Shelley Stancic who asked you to co-sponsor, and you agreed to it. So I'm just making that correction to your statement. Thank you.
Wonderful. Questions for the sponsor, comments? Go ahead, council member.
Comment. This is something that is unnecessary. We passed a resolution saying that the items were going to be put on the ballot. And it's unneeded and unnecessary. I don't plan on voting for it, and I would urge my colleagues not to vote for it as well.
Thank you. Other comments?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Well, I supported the item the first time, and in 5 years, just like in 8 more meetings, there'll be 3 new people up here. So those that want to change things can change whatever they want then at that time. I did have some concerns. From the last meeting, my understanding is there was an item that was discussed that to me seemed very draconian in nature pertaining to term limits. However, I did speak to Chair Levy of the Charter Review Commission today, and I think a lot of my fears are allayed, at least for now. And I don't want to go into it because they still have to discuss more of it. He was gracious enough to ask me to address the Charter Review Commission at their next meeting if I'm available either by phone or in person. So I thank him for that because, as I stated before, this council or 3 out of 5 people can vote and put, if they don't like something, they can put something on the ballot if there's 3 votes up here themselves. And I also reserve the right, if I vote in the affirmative, to bring this item back. But after my discussion today, I believe my point was made. So I supported the item before. I'm going to support it now. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. I'm not going to support the item. I didn't support it the first time around. Not supporting based on the attorney's opinion, which he shared at the last meeting. I don't think we need to rehash it again, but happy to ask him to give that if necessary. Anything else? Okay. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Marcia Matson.
Yes.
Councilmember Patrick Fiore.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mark Meriter.
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Cody.
No.
Mayor Karen Cunningham.
No. All right, the item passes on second reading, 3-2. Councilmember Fiore, thank you for your comments. All right, we are moving on to the next item, which is item 10C.
Anyone moving the item?
I'll move it.
It's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please read the item.
An ordinance of the Mayor and Village Council of the Village of Palmetto Bay, Florida, regarding council discussion, amending the Code of Ordinances at Section 2-49, subsection A, council discussion, public participation, and decorum by establishing the amount of time each council member has to discuss an item, providing for codification, severability, and an effective date. This ordinance is sponsored by Mayor Karen Cunningham, passed on first reading on January 12th, 2026, at its regular council meeting.
Thank you. Anyone who did not get a package deal during 10A can come up now, please, to give public comment. Mr. Singh, I believe we had a package deal for 10A and 10C, so.
I still had a minute left on my clock.
Madam Clerk, you can give him 1 minute, please. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. No, yeah, that's fine too. David Singer, 8360 Southwest 154 Terrace. This could be the first time I'm in such agreement with Mayor Cunningham. It's unbelievable. The only thing I would change, literally, is to put in there that you guys got to follow Robert's rules. And if you want more than 10 minutes after the first and the second go-around, there's a super majority that lets everybody speak again. That's the only change, because you might need that extra 5 minutes on an ordinance. I wouldn't do it if it was a resolution, but there should be some sort of stopgap in case something is like really important, like some sort of legal conversation about settlement or something like that up here, or something that really, really has bearing on the residents. I still got 10, 20 seconds left. There you go.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, any comments by form?
No comments by form for this item.
Got it. Thank you. Madam Mayor, you're recognized.
Thank you. This item is being heard on second reading. It simply says that each council member shall be afforded 10 minutes to discuss an agenda item. This period may be extended by a majority vote of the council. It was already in there. I just wanted you to hear it. Subject to the time limit set forth above. I think we have one little update. I know that there was some concerns. I'm sorry, Mr. Manager, I did not talk to you about it, but we spoke about it, so I know you can speak to it. I think we've got some technology that we're going to be able to make this task a little simpler. Is that something you can speak to today? Or
We're still evaluating it, but yes, ma'am. We will be ready in good order to go with this.
in March?
In March.
All right. That's it. I mean, as I said at the last meeting, listen, if you can't say what you need to say in 5 or 10 minutes, and this is per item. It's per item. So, I think that gives everybody plenty of time. We've got the short-winded, we've got the long-winded. Hopefully we'll all kind of move into the medium-winded. I do have to say to one of the speakers that spoke the first time about the item and then came back up and spoke for a second go-around as it relates to the item. I think there's a lot that can be done in a short amount of time. I don't think that, I think even the 10 minutes is probably a little bit too long, but that does follow the Roberts rules, is the 10 minutes. So, and our original, I know at the last meeting we had some folks that said I was trying to keep people up here from speaking. Not the case at all. Everybody gets plenty of time to chat and make their wishes known. I am in complete agreement that a lot of the dialogue would be corralled a little bit if people spend some time chatting with the manager, asking questions. I do get where people want to have the opportunity to put things to the record. I know every colleague that served up here, at least during my time, at one point or another has had things they wanted to put to the record, and I get that. I don't think we have to put every question that we have of an item to the record. I think that's in part what delays a lot of the work that we're doing. So that's my opener. Hopefully everyone will support it.
Thank you. Any questions for the sponsor? Councilwoman Mattson, you are recognized.
All right, I notice in the suggestion or in the proposal that each council member shall be afforded 10 minutes to discuss an agenda item. Does that also include the question period?
You're recognized.
I think we answered your question last time, but we can answer it again, Mr. Attorney.
It does not. That's a separate section under your code.
Okay, so that means for those who are really good at laying out their position using questions, then they get to have an unlimited time to ask questions while they're laying it out. For example, certain people on this council are very adept at laying out positions by asking questions in a lawyerly fashion. So now we have a situation where the discussion is 10 minutes, but the questions in which the person, the council member, is laying out his position has no time limit. So I would say that this is a catch-22 in terms of who is more adept at laying out positions by asking questions. Really,
Point of order,
this
are
is
we
a,
doing questions and discussion all in one?
Do you have a question at the end of your statement?
yes, does the 10-minute time limit apply to the question period as well as the discussion? It was already answered. No, it doesn't. So we're going to have 20 minutes for certain council members. Okay, I have another question.
Thank you. What's your next question?
Next question.
Do you have a point of order?
Well, I wanted to, just to respond to her question and say that is, I wanted to actually ask a question. Mr. Attorney, would we be able to add so that it's just questions and discussion in 10 minutes? That would, I think that would solve the councilwoman's problem.
You're recognized.
Yeah, I think we could include similar language under 2-49B that, or actually we could just include it in, yeah, we could figure out a way to do it where it would incorporate the questions and the discussion. I don't want to wordsmith it on the dais, but yes, we could.
I could make an amendment. Sure. Okay, the amendment would be on page 2 of 4, line 24, where it says 10 minutes to discuss and question an agenda item.
That's your motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it for the purposes of discussion.
Got it. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, I'll jump in for a second. The only thing I would just ask is that I don't want the response to those questions to be included in that 10-minute limit. So it would only be the time to ask those questions as part of that limit, if that's amendable to the bringer of that motion. Are you open to that?
Yes, I'm open to that, except I guess it's an implementation. How are they going to do that? How is the time going to be kept? In fact, that's one of my questions. How is this time going to be kept so that that can be bifurcated? That is, the difference between the question laying out the position under the question time versus the answers. How is that possible?
Yeah, you'd like to respond to that, Madam Mayor?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I know that we're looking at technology where, again, I know we're doing research on it, so I don't want to put you on the spot here, but where we would be recording or our time, or someone would be recording our time using some kind of system. I don't know more about it, otherwise I would attempt to. And frankly, I'll be honest, I'm not going to support the motion. I think I seconded the motion. I don't think, if we're going to have 10 minutes, it's got to be 10 minutes. If you're going to ask 54 questions, which I remember one time you had a list of questions, it was a while back, but you said, I've got 52 questions or something to ask. In my opinion, you know, if you haven't met with the folks you need to meet with first, you're going to come ill-prepared to the meeting, and then you're going to have more questions. Your point is very well, as far as I'm concerned, is extremely well made to the fact that I would support it, being able to combine questions and because the question part, as you said, is a way around it, and it's not just one colleague that does that up here. There's multiple colleagues that will ask question after question after question, and it really drags on the time because they didn't sit down and have the conversation prior to the meeting. So I'm not going to support. I don't think I'm going to support it in the way you're framing it. So someone else can second it if you want to reframe it, but I don't think I'm going to.
Any other discussion on the motion? Go ahead.
I have questions, more questions.
Is questions on the motion or questions on the item?
On the item, on the amendment that I made.
Okay, go ahead.
Just to respond to the mayor, I only added "and question." That's all I added. I didn't add anything else, so that it reads, each council member shall be afforded 10 minutes to discuss and question an agenda item. So it would eliminate that extended question period in which a person is laying out an argument.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I understand, just for clarification, but then you followed that, and please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, then you followed that saying, oh, but not the responses, right? You don't want the responses to fall within the 10 minutes.
No, I didn't say that. The vice mayor said that.
That was mine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I heard it, so.
And I did not make a motion to support that.
Okay, I will support yours, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to, I don't think, well, actually, I think we need to include the responses, so we are 10 minutes. I think it will encourage folks to ask their questions prior to the meeting so that we move things along a little bit faster. Sorry if I misunderstood both of you, but the motion that I'm supporting would also include questions and answers. Your 10 minutes, however you want to spend it during an item, it will be questions, answers, discussion. That's the way I.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. You have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to also point out this. Maybe this will allay some of the concerns. Is there's also the provision that it can be extended by a majority vote of the council, and I would think that if you have one person responding in a long-winded, blustering way to a pretty straightforward question that your other council members would say, we think they're filibustering and we'll let you talk a little bit more. I mean, that's obviously up to you all, but I did want to point out that there is that in there in case that allays any of those concerns.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the motion.
The amendment.
Yes, the amendment motion, same thing.
Could I hear the amendment again, please?
Madam Clerk, please read it.
Yes, the amendment was made by Councilmember Marsha Matson, page 2 of 4, line 24. To discuss and question an agenda item. Question and, those were the two words that were added to that line. That motion was seconded by Mayor Karen Cunningham.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Karen Cunningham?
Yes.
Councilmember Patrick Fiore?
No.
Councilmember Marsha Matson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mark Meritor?
No.
Councilmember Steve Cody?
No.
Motion fails 2-3. We are now back on the item that has not been amended. Any other questions for the sponsor?
Another question.
You have another question? Go ahead.
My next question is, will the sponsor of an item who gives a presentation, then answers questions, then is giving a closing statement still be confined to 10 minutes? Or will that time be extended for every sponsor?
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney.
The rebuttal is included as part of the 10 minutes. I think I at the last meeting, I think I used the example of like an appellate hearing where each side gets 10 minutes of argument, and the side who's presenting goes first usually says, I'm going to reserve 2 minutes for rebuttal, and in that way they get the 2 minutes from a rebuttal or closing. So it's akin to like a appellate argument in that regard.
The answer then is no, the sponsor doesn't get any extra time.
It's all included in the 10 minutes, correct?
Okay. Well, I have to say that I do think that that is unfair to a sponsor. A sponsor has to take more time. A sponsor has to explain it and then rebut it, and meanwhile answer questions in between. So I think this works against a sponsor, frankly.
Thank you. And I would, on that point, actually before we do that, any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none on that point, I would just make a motion myself that says that the sponsor of an item that this time limit's on is exempt from this limit. That's my motion.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll just clarify the reason why I brought that. I agree with you, Councilwoman. I think that if you're sponsoring an item, I think you should have a little bit more leeway to respond to questions, because the way this is written, I don't know if that response to that question is part of that 10 limit. So I would prefer to be able to work through that and, as a sponsor of an item, be able to present my ideas more clearly and take that time to explain things, especially when it's something critically important. So I would just ask that this apply not to the sponsor. So hope to get support on that motion. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on that motion.
The motion that was presented and that we are calling the vote on is that the sponsor of the item is exempt from the 10-minute time limit.
Yes.
Mayor Karen Cunningham?
No.
Councilmember Patrick Fiori?
No.
Councilmember Marsha Matson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mark Meritor?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Cody?
No.
Motion fails 2-3. We're now back on the item. Any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, discussion. We'll start, Councilwoman Matson, do you have discussion?
Yes, I really would like to know from the manager how he's going to be a timekeeper on this. Is he going to have a stopwatch, or what is he going to have? I'd like more detail, please.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. To be honest, I told the mayor a moment ago, we are exploring a couple of different solutions. One would be via Granicus, which we currently use. The other would be an app, an iPhone-based app that we can use that would time. Regardless, whatever you come up with from a policy point of view, we will figure out how to execute it.
Thank you. Is that the end of your comments? Seeing that, any other comments on the item?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Whatever you are. Thank you. As stated earlier, and I think the mayor said it, I don't say too much. I don't need 10 minutes. I know most of the time I don't need 5 minutes. Tonight I need 30 seconds. But I stated last time I would be very happy to yield back the balance of my time, especially to my two colleagues on the end here, and I'd be very happy to do that. And I'm just going to vote for this ordinance like I did the first time, and my 30 seconds is up. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. On that point, I actually do just have a quick question to our attorney. As written, can a council member transfer their time to another council member?
It doesn't specify yes or no. So
I would make that motion then to respond to the commissioner's comments that we allow for that. My motion, once again, for the clerk is that a council member may transfer their time to another council member for discussion. Seeking a second.
Yeah, okay. I'll second it.
There's a motion, there's a second. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
The motion on the floor, made by Vice Mayor Meritor, is that a council member may transfer their time to another council member for discussion, seconded by Council Member Patrick Fiori. Roll call. Mayor Karen Cunningham?
No.
Council Member Patrick Fiori?
Yes.
Council Member Marsha Matson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mark Meritor?
Yes.
Council Member Steve Cody?
No.
Motion passes 3-2. We're now back on the item as amended. Any more discussion? All right, I'm going to go, and then I'll give the mayor an opportunity to close on the item. So I feel like personally that this item represents everything that's been wrong with our council over the past year, and I think it fundamentally ignores the promise that we made to the residents of our village. Since our last meeting, I have thought a lot about the conversations that I've had with residents at their front doors throughout the campaign. And when I talk to our neighbors about the issues that actually keep them up at night, things like gridlock on our roads, the threat of overdevelopment, the safety in our parks, and the protection of our families, not one person has come to me and said that we need to spend less time discussing those issues that matter to people. No resident is going to thank us for deciding that their conversations only warrant 10 minutes of our time. And by passing this, we're essentially telling our neighbors that issues that matter most to them have a countdown clock. We're signaling that our work here only matters if it can be condensed to a soundbite. And we're signaling that the arguments at our meetings are simply running too long is a poor excuse, in my view, for doing the hard work of governance. We are elected officials. We signed up for this job specifically to debate all of our items in detail. And we are here to ask those difficult questions and vet every single proposal that becomes before us, because the decisions that we make in these chairs have permanent consequences for the village, particularly my generation in the long term. And if we do the work of detailed debate,
and we find that to be too long or too inconvenient, then I think we're all in the wrong profession here. And again, I feel like this proposal sends a message that the work we do up here does not truly matter to our residents unless it's on our schedules. Imagine trying to explain to a resident that a multi-million-dollar project or a massive change to their neighborhood only deserves 10 minutes of their time or scrutiny because we all wanted to go home early or for some other reason. It's fundamentally wrong. We should welcome more scrutiny instead of finding new ways to stifle it. Thank you. You're recognized to close.
Thank you. Actually, again, as far as I'm concerned, the item has changed considerably from where it started. The item was simply an item, and frankly, I do believe, Councilmember Fiore, that that some individuals, maybe nobody that's sitting up here now, maybe somebody in the future, will abuse the yielding time to another colleague. That's just my opinion, and you already heard the person who made the motion is not going to support the item, even with your good changes. So this really is an item that benefits the residents. If you look around, and one of my colleagues, Vice Mayor, when he got elected, gave a speech at his swearing in talking about engaging residents. And the only time I've seen residents engaged is when there's either rumor or gossip of something terrible happening, or quite frankly, I'm sorry, colleague, when something awful happened on social media. Then no problem getting people out. But people are not coming out, as one person mentioned, former Councilmember Singer, because we spend so much time talking, right? They can watch this from the quiet of their home on social media, on Facebook or whatever the other venues are. This was really designed twofold. One, to encourage colleagues to meet with the manager, as several of us do on a regular basis, some of us on a daily basis, but when necessary, especially around a meeting. I hold a charter officer meeting prior to when the agenda goes out, and then again, once the agenda's been published, so that I can understand all of the underpinnings of the items that are being presented to the best of, the best of their knowledge. And then secondly, it's really designed to engage residents. Who wants to sit here and listen to individuals speak for an unlimited amount of time and ask questions that could have been asked prior? So I'm going to support the item because I'm going to say it's better than nothing, and it's the item I brought. But I feel like, once we get up here and start tinkering with making changes, and do make the changes, and then don't have the support from the colleagues that wanted to make the change, it kind of is a bit of a moot point. Mr. Manager, I will look forward to rediscussing with more information the technology or whatever it is we're going to use, so we'll be able to time everybody appropriately. And for that, I close.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Steve Cody,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mark Meritor,
No.
Councilmember Patrick Fiore,
Yes.
Councilmember Marsha Matson,
No.
Mayor Karen Cunningham.
Yes.
Item passes 3-2.
All right, let's keep it moving here. We thought this was going to be a short one. We should have done that straw poll to figure out what time we would be completing at. Okay, we are on item 11A. This is an item for first reading. Would somebody move it?
Move.
Second.
It's been moved, it's been seconded. Madam Clerk, please read the item. If you're going to speak to the item, just get ready. Thank you.
An ordinance of the Mayor and Village Council of the Village of Palmetto Bay, Florida, relating to council accountability and responsiveness to the public at council meetings, amending Chapter 2, Article 2, Division 2, Section 2-49 of the Village Code, establishing a clear duty to respond to public inquiries made at council meetings, providing for procedures and timelines for responses, providing for severability, codification, and an effective date. This item is being heard on first reading and is sponsored by Councilmember Marsha Matson.
Thank you. Public comment, please.
Chrysler 18201 Southwest 98th Avenue. I wanted to remind the council that we used to have opportunities for feedback and interaction between residents and council members, and they were called the committee of the whole meetings. And it seems like they are being removed, or reduced at minimum, and removed seems to be the effort. We don't have any discussions open interactively anymore, but there's a lot of discussion redundantly up on the dais. The other thing that we used to also have on the agenda at the end, public comments for where those of us that do attend can give feedback on what we saw happen during the meeting and or had input on. And an example might be my dog situation, not dog, but the residue of the dogs that was brought up that I didn't have a chance to talk about when it was brought up, and it was kind of misrepresented because it's not on my property, it's on your property, it's on the village property. I'm just charged with mowing it and driving through it and other things like that. And there are bags. So that's a situation where some assumptions can be made and spoken that a resident has to sit back here and just can't give feedback or accurate information that is related to them. So anyway, I think interaction and positive feedback, and I appreciate them coming out after my request. Thank you.
Speaker, name and address, please.
9280 Southwest 167 Terrace, Palmetto Bay. My issue with that item is that if councilmen engaging with the citizen while they're standing here, it's going to take forever. You know, it's going to take that. We last couple times I was here, we're leaving at 11 o'clock. And, you know, some of us have jobs that we have to get into, so if we're engaging, then we're going to be here till 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, I think it's not a good thing. If the citizen wants to engage with the city council or mayor, they can make an appointment and come here within Monday through Friday, wherever the city hall is open. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
James Woodard, address exempt. I've attended in person or virtually most of the meetings since incorporation. I have frequently asked questions or expressed concerns regarding matters of concern to me. Many other residents have done the same. Almost never have the questions or concerns been addressed during or after the meeting. The message sent is that residents' comments are a procedural necessity, but never heard. This is a valid issue that should be approved. With all due respect, many of us who come up before the council leave with the feeling that we have said our piece, but have never really been considered. It's about time that a motion or that a matter of this time be brought before the council so that you understand that we want answers. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Henry Clifford, 8875 Southwest 171st Street. Way back in the dark ages when we were thinking about becoming a city, I went to Dade County Commission on another item and watched the 13-member council up there essentially paying no attention at all to anybody who was speaking, except perhaps the speaker who was vaguely required. Other people were chewing gum, talking to each other out of the room, working on their phones. There was no particular anyone paying attention to or responding to any item by any person who stood up and talked. All you got out of it was, "Thank you, next." And that was the end of it. Please come back and talk to us again. Thank you, next speaker. So when our city became a city, our first mayor came up with something that apparently was called and referred to by all as the Flynn Rule, which says under no circumstances are you to engage with the audience. That means you don't acknowledge anything except thank you, next. You do not answer their questions. And we are still under those rules. I put the bee in the bonnet under another mayor who opened up the rules but somehow decided that it was her job to convince the speaker of the error of their ways or the perfectness of the mayor's ways or whatever. It was argument. That was a bad idea. But it would be very nice if you would consider us as human beings and the people who elected you. We, by the way, had one council member who said the only time you get to talk to me is when you choose me to represent you. This is representative democracy. You don't get to talk to me and have a voice. And the press was there, and everybody went, are you nuts? But unfortunately, that's pretty much how this system actually works here. Occasionally, you all, including you, Madam Mayor, you have responded to me more than once. So occasionally, you all do. You don't have to eat up this precious council time, which we're arguing about, you know, how hard it is to get through a council meeting. You could simply say what you have said before, Ms. Cunningham. You said you directed the manager to get back with a person. So if you do not wish to take the time in a meeting to answer us directly, which could again end up being a shouting match or something like that, you could at least say, you may have valid concerns, Mr. Manager or whomever, would you please get back to Mr. Clifford and answer his question? Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any comments by form? No comments by form. Wonderful. All right, Councilwoman, all yours.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So what this says is this is the duty to respond, and not like in a serendipitous way or haphazard way, or because you feel like discussing it as a council member, you bring it up. This sets up a systematic way of responding to the public, so not only does the person asking the question finds out, which if he or she meets with the manager does, but also so the public finds out the answer, and so the council people find out the answers too. So this is a procedure that I think is most needed so that it's regular. It's something that we do. So let me just read to you what it is, and residents spoke very well, so I'm not going to repeat what they have to say. I'm just going to read this ordinance. Duty to respond when a resident or member of the public poses a factual question or request for information during the public comments portion of a duly noticed village council meeting, the village shall provide a response. 2, initial response at the meeting. The mayor or the mayor's designee shall respond to the inquiry at the conclusion of the public comments portion of the meeting to the extent an accurate response is reasonably available at that time. So more than likely, the resident gets the comment at the response at the end of the public comments section. Deferred response. If a complete or accurate response is not reasonably available at the meeting, the mayor or the mayor's designee shall, A, acknowledge the inquiry on the record, B, direct that the inquiry be answered at the conclusion of the public comments section of the next regular or special village council meeting, or sooner if practicable. And number 4, the form of the response. Responses may be provided orally at a council meeting, in writing, or both, provided that any written response shall be made part of the public record and made reasonably accessible to the public. So this regularizes the system of responding to the public when they ask questions, which may or may not happen today. It so happened that some of the council members were interested in responding and coming up with a resolution, but that doesn't always happen. It really doesn't happen more often than it does. So I ask for your support on this. This is a resident-oriented item which assures that they get the answer and that the public is also informed of the answer, as well as council members. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Questions, discussion? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll start by saying I really appreciate the intent of the item. I actually went to a meeting in Pinecrest last month, and I saw a really interesting dynamic there that I really liked. First of all, I don't know who said it from the public, but they did have snacks and also orange juice there. So I think we should take some cues from them and bring that to the lobby there whenever we can. So Just want to put that out there. The second thing that I saw is that when a member of the public gave comment, and if that person was respectful, the mayor would always respond and always have a back and forth with the resident sometimes. They wouldn't go into a long back and forth. If it was more than like a minute or so, it would just be deferred out to someone in the administration. I really like that. But to me, I don't think you need a code change to do that. Mr. Attorney, I'm wondering, related to this, do we need a code change to allow a member of the council here, or especially the mayor, to respond to a member of the public after they give a public comment?
No, the mayor or any other council member through the mayor requesting time could certainly respond. Sure. Or it can be done like what was tonight, ask the manager to follow up on a certain item or give direction. Sorry.
Of course. So two things on that. The first is, someone's already mentioned it a couple of times, but 3 of us are being termed out, including the mayor. So really, the kind of mayor and the kind of engagement you want to have with residents is going to be up to who's sitting in that chair. I don't think there's a code that you need for that. I think we just need that discretion that's available, which I think was just answered as already is there. And the second thing is that the other thing I saw at the Pinecrest meeting, and perhaps this could be a better forum for it, is that if a resident in Pinecrest reached out to the manager or mayor, there's an actual section of the agenda called Citizen Presentations where they had 5 minutes to discuss issues that mattered most to them. The person who was at the Pinecrest meeting was talking about the intersection of US 1 and Kendall Drive and the dangers with it. And the council had a dialogue about how they wanted to handle it, and they ultimately said, look, it was an FDOT intersection, so they had to pass it along. But they still had that discussion based on what that resident brought. They had a whole presentation. It was really nice. So perhaps instead of having this duty to respond, we could have the ability for residents to come in with presentations of their ideas and give them those 5 minutes, and then have discussion after about those ideas as a council. And for the other comments that don't require that, just honestly have someone in the mayor's seat who's willing to do that. So that's my comments, and perhaps if you're open to amendment, we can have that discussion, but that's where I'm at.
Thank you. Other discussion? Yes, Councilmember Fiore.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I'm not going to support the item, only for the simple reason. I really think this goes against, that doesn't go against, maybe the intent is well, Dr. Mattson, but it's how you handle your job as an elected official. And by that I mean this, and I look out in the audience and I see many people that call me all the time and can always call me. 2 members called me. I went into the woods on a Sunday while my grandchildren were here. I took time out to do the job I was elected to do. And anybody who knows me, and everybody up here, I've always endeavored to get an answer. If I can't do it myself, I asked Mr. Williams back in the day. I asked Mr. Silva, the short time he was here when I was here, Mr. Truitt, and now our esteemed city manager, Mr. Morano, to get the answer to the resident. And that's the way I operate, and that's the way I've operated for 12 years. And I do agree with the Vice Mayor. I don't think we need to legislate this. I think this is all in how you do your job, and I hope the 3 people that come after us can kind of at least emulate that one piece. That's all I have. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, you want to close on it?
Okay, I would like to address the commissioner that you're an exceptional council member in being responsive to residents. You're the people's commissioner, but not all people are like this. And this just assures that no matter whether the council member is responsive or not, that the citizens get their answer. They get their answers in a timely fashion, and the public knows the answers as well. And in terms of responding to the vice mayor, if this fails, which it looks like it's going to, then I hope you will bring your idea from Pinecrest that you observed at Pinecrest and bring it back, and let's see if we can have a better method. The residents all talked about how their questions are not being answered. So if this is not a good method, I don't take offense at that. Hopefully you will bring something back that will satisfy the problem, which the residents have brought up. So thank you, everybody. I hope you support it.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, would you please give us your email address? Yeah, could you just state it for the record? Your email address?
Yes, ma'am. N. Marano, M-A-R-A-N-O, at Palmetto Bay, one word, -fl.gov.
Thank you. Could you also give us your phone number?
Yes, ma'am. 305-259-1240. And that rings 24/7 on my mobile.
Thank you. All right, anything else? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Marsha Matson?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Cody?
No.
Vice Mayor Mark Meritor?
No.
Mayor Karen Cunningham? Councilmember Patrick Fiore?
No.
Okay, the item fails 4-1. We had one item on consent agenda. Madam Clerk, was this one item pulled?
The item was not pulled from the consent agenda.
Very good. Can I get a motion to move the consent agenda?
May I be recognized before we do that? I'd like to add item 14A and B to the consent agenda, please.
There's a motion, just for the record, item 14A is the $125,000 for the traffic calming, and item B is Vice Mayor Merwitzer's item supporting Senate Bill 1152 and House Bill 1241 related to hands-free driving. Just so everyone's aware what they're voting on. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on moving the two items? Nope. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. So we have.
For a point of clarity, we added items 14A and 14B to the consent agenda. It is my understanding we would have to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as it's been amended?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right.
Thank you.
No, thank you. All right, we have, so that leaves us with one last item. It's the item that that I asked to be put on the agenda. It's 14D. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. Is there a motion for the item?
Motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please read the item.
A resolution of the Mayor and Village Council of the Village of Palmetto Bay, Florida, directing the village manager to produce videos in recognition of Women's History Month in an amount not to exceed $5,000, identifying a budgetary funding source, providing findings, providing for implementation, and providing for an effective date. This resolution is sponsored by Mayor Karen Cunningham.
Thank you. Any public comments on the item? Seeing none. Any comments by form? I doubt it, but just want to double check. Perfect. Madam Mayor, you're recognized.
Those folks would have had to have telepathy. This item is, it's pretty straightforward. My apologies and thank you for allowing the item to come onto the agenda. I thought about Women's History Month after the deadline of February 18th for the items. This would direct the village manager to produce videos in recognition of Women's History Month, not to exceed $5,000. We have a lot of talented women in this community. We've done something similar in the past, but it was just an email that went out with a little bio. We have limited staff, and so I thought this would be something that we could outsource. I name the individual that we've spoken of in the past. She's an approved vendor. It's Cynthia Demos Communications. I know we've discussed her multiple times on the dais, and that is the item. I'm open to your questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the sponsor? I just have one. Is there a specific reason why Ms. Cynthia Demos was chosen over, for example, our very talented public relations staff?
Who's our public relations staff?
For example, our PIO officer, Mr. Treadwell, and the rest of the team.
Yes,
communications,
communications staff. Yeah, as I just said, we have very limited staff. I know that they do a tremendous amount of work, and in this case, I think if we're going to do a month with many videos, I think it's going to be a little bit outside of their bandwidth, not because they're not talented, because they are. It's just because they're limited staff, and they've got a lot of things that they're working on.
Thank you. Any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, comments on the item. You're recognized, Councilwoman.
Yes, I do have a problem. Ms. Demos, I'm sure is a wonderful public relations person and video person, but I have to say I had a problem during the Charlie Kirk discussion. She seemed to, I got the contract for her employment as our, public relations person to work with everybody in the village, including other council members, but I never got any comments from her. I never got any reaching out from her. I only saw her really setting up the mayor's appointments and her interviews. And she stood by while I was giving interviews and did not give me any advice. So I think this is a very nice idea, but I do object to her being there because of my experience with her. So I would like to amend this to say that this should be open to other communications people.
Second. Discussion on the amendment. Go ahead, Madam Mayor.
Really, just to respond, if you would. Thank you for your comments. I would say she's an approved vendor for the village. It's February 2nd. If we were to put out for RFP, which is why I kind of, went around that, because we have a long list of approved vendors. We approve items with approved vendors all the time, right? People that we've already vetted, that have already done work for us. I don't know if I'm speaking truth to government, but I think I am. By the time this is happening now, the work actually has to get done in February for it to be able to be presented in March. So I thought she did a fine job for all of the things, especially the video component, where when we were talking about the I'm so sorry, Palmetto Bay Village Center, I was going to say the old Burger King property. I'm trying to break myself of that, but it hasn't worked. She did, a video clearly explaining what the legal agreement was. It was extremely well received. It had many, many shares and people viewing, many views, more views than we've had on most stuff that we put out. So, that's why I chose her. She's an approved vendor, so. And a resident here that cares about the village of Palmetto Bay. And not for nothing, she knows a tremendous amount of people in the community, so I thought that would also help in, working with the manager for some kind of selection process.
Thank you. Any other comments on the motion? Seeing none, I'll just jump in for a second. And I will mention that I think all of us on this dais had the policymakers video done by another video making company that was not Ms. Cynthia Demos. So why not use that company instead? I support the intention. I hate being put in a position where I have to choose between a vendor the village has a very long history with and also concerning history in my view, and supporting Women's History Month. So I would strongly prefer if we can choose another vendor. Perhaps we can reach out to the vendor that did our policymakers video. I'm sure there's other vendors out there that could do this work pretty quickly. I'm sure there's other approved vendors. So I would just ask that we strike Ms. Cynthia Demos and put in another approved vendor just for the peace of mind of the people on this dais. So you may go ahead and respond.
So Fox Studios or Fox Creative Films that we use for the state of the village and for our policymakers, the cost of videoing with them, at least this has been my, to the best, I didn't discuss it with the manager, but to the best of my knowledge is a lot more expensive. And then the second component was, as I just said to Councilwoman Mattson, and frankly, I don't know where, I don't even want to go into, because I think it'd be best if you didn't go into why you feel there's some concerning history with a resident of our village that has done something wrong?
I'm listening.
Okay. That as though she's done something wrong. And we had a conversation. You've spoken to the manager. He publicly said she did a great job. And she knows she's a resident, and she knows a lot of residents in the village. So in my opinion, That way she can kind of garner the folks that we want to be focusing on and work with the manager to be able to do that. I'm just responding to your question.
I mean, just to respond to that, I just wanted to ask then, since we're getting such a great rate, are we getting that such a great rate because she's giving us the friends and family discount because you're friends and family of her?
I said up to, I don't know what you're saying, but I said up to, not to exceed $5,000. I'll be quite frank with you. The manager, I could have just spontaneously had this idea, and the manager could have said, wow, that's a great idea. I can spend $5,000. That's within my purview. But I thought Women's History Month, wouldn't this be something we would all want to embrace and be able to say, hey, together we proffered, you know, going out and making videos on amazing women in our community, successful, amazing women in the village of Palmetto Bay. You know, I think even if the item were to fail at this point, the manager could make a decision all on his own.
Well, I would make a motion after this motion to disallow that with this specific vendor. And the reason why I brought up the friends and family rate is that I'm not making an accusation. I'm just saying that this vendor was hired on the past by the village on the friends and family rate of, in the literal line said friends and family rate, Mayor Karen Cunningham. So that's my core concern of this. I'm not making an accusation at all. I'm just saying that was on the public record, and I just feel very uncomfortable hiring a vendor at a discounted rate on taxpayer dimes for someone who was literally on public record saying that we're getting a friends and family and lower rate because of a relationship with someone on this dais. That's my core concern. Again, not making an allegation, that's just what I saw. So I cannot support that.
Thank you. As a follow-up, just to help re-explain to you one more time, this says not to exceed $5,000. I have no clue what the rate is for her, but not to exceed. That's going to be up to the manager to decide.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the motion.
The motion did not receive a second.
I seconded it. It was made by Councilman Mattson. I seconded it.
Motion to amend this to open to other communications.
Yes.
Mayor Karen Cunningham?
No.
Councilmember Patrick Fiore?
No.
Councilmember Steve Cody?
Nope.
Vice Mayor Mark Meritzer?
Yes.
Councilmember Marsha Mattson?
Yes.
Motion fails 2-3. We're back on. Oh, we are back on. My mic just went out. We are back on the item that has not been amended. Any other discussion on the item? Would you like to close?
No, I hope you'll support it. We've got great women in Palmetto Bay.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Karen Cunningham?
Yes.
Councilmember Patrick Fiore?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Cody?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mark Meritzer?
I support Women's History Month. I do not support the vendor. No.
Councilmember Marsha Mattson?
No.
Item passes 3-2.
All right, out of deference to the vice mayor who requested to make some comments earlier in the meeting, and I said if you could hold them to council comments. First, is there any other business? No, I do have just a quick other business, if I could. I would love to have, and I would like to bring, well, I'm going to bring in March, just notifying you all, an item to have our supervisor of elections, the Honorable Madam Village Clerk. What's that? Yeah, no, I'm talking about our supervisor of elections to host a candidate. So you want to become a candidate in the village of Palmetto Bay, an informational workshop / session where she could invite the community to come out to get all the down low on becoming a candidate. So I'm going to bring that item in March. I think it will be somewhat timely. Hopefully, we would be able to design a program that would have all of my colleagues there and Mr. Manager and Mr. Attorney, just so folks would have the opportunity to meet you. You could share your email address and your phone number one more time with them in case they didn't have it. But that way they'll kind of see the team and also be able to hear from our supervisor. We could definitely invite our Miami-Dade County Supervisor of Elections as well. That's my other business. Is there any other business? Wonderful. Go ahead, Vice Mayor. You had some comments you wanted to make.
Yeah, so as everyone has heard from multiple media outlets on this, the lawsuit that was filed by Councilmember Cody against the village and me was dismissed with prejudice by a county court judge who called it a, quote, wholly fabricated controversy, unquote. However, instead of accepting the court's clear ruling, the councilman has now filed for a rehearing. This means that the, quote, meter is still running for our taxpayers. Every hour of our attorney's spending to respond to this complaint and this now rehearing is now an hour paid away from our tax dollars. As of today, we now know that this manufactured controversy has now cost our village at least $55,000, and with this new filing, that number is probably headed even higher. While we've had to scale back on things like park security and police overtime to balance our budget, we are still now being forced to spend tens of thousands of dollars on a case the court has already said there's no basis in law or fact. And there is direct precedent for something that I'd like to do now. A few years ago, when a member of this council filed a hostile work environment complaint that was eventually dismissed in albeit much less significant circumstances, this council voted to publish those total legal costs on the village website. And I am simply tonight asking for that same treatment and standard of transparency today. Residents have a right to see those receipts. So with that said, I move that the village council direct the village manager and village attorney to create a page placed on the front page of the village's website within 14 days and post all the legal invoices received and staff time estimates related to the Steve Cody v. Mark Merwitzer matter, including all costs with the newly filed motion for a rehearing, along with a copy of the order of dismissal. And update this page monthly so that residents can see the total cost to taxpayers as this litigation continues. I would also like the village to share the link on the social media pages of all of the village platforms that we use so that every resident has access to know where their money is being spent on this case. That is my motion.
Gladly second.
All right, there's a motion, and it's been seconded. Okay, discussion, questions? Okay.
Yeah, I have a discussion,
Okay, go ahead.
and I don't say much.
I know.
But Mr. Merwitzer, not everything in life is bad. You know, I just said I served here as best I can, and I've had a wonderful life, and I only have 8 more meetings left. But you're a young man. I don't know what else to say. I'm not supporting. Madam Mayor, I got to leave. May I leave?
Can he leave?
Okay, well, I'll stay and finish my duty. It would kind of go against what I just said, so I will stay here. Thank you.
Unless, of course, you're not feeling well. If you're not feeling
I'm
well, you
okay.
can just
Yeah.
Go ahead, you had comments?
Yes, I did. All right. This, I absolutely support this.
Sorry, one moment. What is that?
Battery.
It's you, Mr. Woodard. You're squeaking at me. Sorry, it sounded like it was up here. My apologies, sir. Yeah, you're much better. Thank you. Thanks, Nick. Go ahead, sorry.
All right. The councilman is rolling up the legal bills in his, well, he filed an ethics complaint against me that cost $27,000 of taxpayer money. There was no proof for it. It was not, the council member, or the Commission on Ethics said that there was no substantial proof. It was dismissed. So that was $27,000 of your money, taxpayers. Now he's filed a lawsuit against the vice mayor on a completely fictitious charge, something that was his imagination, according to the judge that dismissed it with prejudice, which means it can't come back. So now he's filing an appeal of it, as I understand. And also, the councilman just filed another lawsuit against the vice mayor. So taxpayers, this has to stop. There has to be some way of stopping wasting your money on ridiculous, fictional, made-up arguments and costing you the money. So I'm absolutely supporting this, and I appreciate your bringing it up, Vice Mayor.
Mayor, if I might?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm reminded of a line in one of Shakespeare's plays just from hearing that. The lady doth protest too much, me think, because Marcia Mattson made a complaint against the village attorney. We had to hire outside counsel. We all flew up to Tallahassee to lobby, but she went off to talk to that counsel. A report was done, and we spent $24,000 on that. And somehow, I don't detect any kind of clutching of pearls on that from you. But as far as the second item, I made a public record request of Mr. Merwitzer. He did not respond. I gave him 20 days to respond. I then filed an action. He waited another, I believe, 2.5 weeks before he sent me an email that said, talk to my lawyer. The response to a public records request is either, here's the document with some redactions, or I don't know what document you're talking about. Telling me, here's the phone number of my lawyer is not a valid response. So yes, he has been sued because he didn't turn over the document and did not respond to the request. And just as any other citizen has the right to go and get a public record, he's in possession of a public record, and his response at one point to say, well, I'm not going to give you the public record, but I'll give you an affidavit that nobody helped me out on that. Well, you don't respond to a public record request by saying, I'll create a new public record. You respond to it by giving the public record that was asked for. And you, as a former college professor in the government area, should well know that. So I'm not going to support this, obvious, but I just wanted to make a couple of things clear. Let's
May I
vote, Madam
respond
Mayor.
since he personally addressed me?
These are council comments, really.
No, I need to respond because he made a false statement.
I have council comments too, so go ahead.
I filed a hostile work environment against the village attorney, which actually I expected HR to handle, but the manager preferred to hire an outside attorney. So I did not initiate a lawsuit. I did not pursue legal motions, lawsuits, because he doesn't have to pay for it. The taxpayers are paying for it, so it's got to stop. Thank you.
Wonderful. I have some council comments.
May I
You have
close
more
my motion?
comments?
I just wanted to close my motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so 2 things. Number 1, this has nothing to do with the new lawsuit. It only has to do with the one that the judge called wholly fabricated. And all I'm asking my colleagues for is something very simple. When Councilman Mattson brought a complaint and the village spent legal resources defending it and money, they literally posted all of the expenditures on that complaint to the village's website. I am asking just for the same treatment in a case where a judge has thrown out the case as, quote, wholly fabricated that exists only in the plaintiff's own mind. I think you and the audience deserve to know how much a wholly fabricated complaint cost you. And it's highly unfortunate that we're going to give one complaint separate treatment in an entirely separate circumstance, and now this complaint that was dismissed under very much stronger circumstances, we're not going to even allow it to go out. So I would just ask that reconsider this and that you all support at least having the same set of standards. And the councilman to my left, by the way, supported that very motion. So it just doesn't make sense that we're going to protect one council member when they sue, but not another when they bring a legal complaint. So it's highly unfortunate that there does not seem to be support for that. So thank you.
All those in favor?
Roll call vote, please.
Can I read the motion into the record?
Get it in before 10 o'clock. It is 10:59 and many seconds. So if it hits 10 o'clock, I adjourn.
Vice Mayor Meritor, move to direct the
You didn't
manager.
extend the meeting.
A point of order, I would like to move that the council continue for another 3 minutes.
It's 10 p.m. right now.
Then
Mr.
until
Parliamentarian?
10:05.
Mr. Parliamentarian, it's 10 p.m. Nobody extended the meeting.
She started the motion before 10. I think we can.
Okay, I was looking at the time. I'm looking at the time, though. That clock is not correct. But go ahead, you've got a motion, is there a second?
It was already seconded by the council, is my understanding.
No, she asked for an
I
extension.
just made a motion to extend the meeting.
Let's spend 5 minutes figuring out how we're going to extend the meeting. By 5 minutes, are you seconding? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Nay. Okay, the meeting's not extended. It is 10 p.m. Thank you. Palmetto Bay, have a lovely evening. Yes, thank you.